Kirk Goldsberry is here. He has a new piece on theringer.com today. We're going to nerd it up. I want to talk advanced metrics with you and a whole bunch of things. I asked you to come up with a couple trends, things you're looking at, things that have jumped out from a basketball / nerd numbers standpoint. There's been some good nerd numbers this year. I can't wait to go through them. What's your number one?
Well, I think the biggest one, Bill, is that scoring is way up in the NBA. So we're seeing scoring numbers. It's great to talk to you about this because we haven't seen scoring numbers like this since the 1960s, before the three-point line existed. NBA teams are averaging 117 points per game. Those are crazy numbers, up from last year, but definitely up from anywhere this century.
I was looking at some of the assist numbers. There was multiple teams just averaging 29, 30 assists a game, which I thought was kind of exciting. But so you mentioned the early 60s. And I remember debunking the Oscar Robertson triple-double stuff for my book because just the way they played back then, they would just kind of run up and down and take shots, and nobody could make a shot back then the way they could now. There's a bunch of reasons why scoring's up. I'm going to throw a couple at you. I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but I'm ready. The fact that bigs can all shoot for the most part.
Right.
We have your occasional Nimi Keita or DeAndre Ayton kind of outlier, old school center who's just kind of around the rim. But for the most part, we have these bigs, these stretch fives, and just more talented bigs. That's one. The pace is up. I think that's two. The pressure. Phoenix, you wrote about in your piece today how Phoenix, that's one of the reasons they've been able to unlock their season. Like these teams that are just using 10, 11, 12 guys and trying to pressure the ball 94 feet, which Indiana started last year. And now I feel like it's a trend. But I also think a big part of that is how much talent we have. That teams can go 10, 11, 12 deep now and have the luxury of doing that. So what, other than those, are there any other factors you see?
Yeah, so there in general, like when you look at it long term, the shot selection revolution is the biggest reason. Just every possession is more efficient. But when we look at just what's happened since last year, and we have like a 3.5, 4 point a game scoring uptick, unfortunately, the biggest thing is fouls and free throws. I think
interesting.
Yes, unfortunately, almost all of the scoring increase is explained by a 3.1 per game free throw made increase for each team in every game. So
that just threw away all my other reasons?
No, I mean, if you're looking at, say, how did we get here? Like one of the crazy stats I was looking up is the 73-win Warriors, one of the greatest teams you and I have ever seen, had an offensive rating of 113.5. That would rank 22nd now.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot better at scoring in the NBA. That team would slot below the awful LA Clippers offense right now. So that just tells me that over 10 years, Bill, the average NBA offense is just shooting smarter shots. There's more talent, as you describe. But when we look at just why are we so much higher than last year, we're setting records for free throws, and specifically certain types of players are drawing a lot more fouls and going to the line more than ever before. And specifically, Luka Doncic like epitomizes this trend. I don't know if you were at the Lakers-Spurs game earlier this year at Crypto. But yeah, Luka is the epitome. He shot less than 9 free throws per game last year. He's at 12.5 this year. He's drawing over 9 fouls per game himself, which is the highest number we've ever seen in the player tracking era.
Do you think that's because the league rigs the league for the Lakers, or are there other reasons?
I think there's a few reasons. I think the league rigs the league for the Lakers, which is hard to say. So thank you for making me say
extra 6 free throw attempts per year, no matter who's on the team. Just factor that in.
This is one thing Spurs fans and Celtics fans can clearly agree on.
Yes.
But two things are happening. Luka is one of the smartest, hardest players to guard in the league. Like, no disrespect to Luka Doncic. He does work the refs. We all know that, but that's not new. I think one of the other trends we're talking about, you sort of alluded to it with the Suns, is teams are playing handsier, more physical defense for longer stretches of the court and throwing more and more guys out there. So I think because of what Rick Carlisle started in the playoffs last year, I think teams are just being handsier. But that said, here's a stat for you, dude. This year, there's been 14 instances of a single player drawing 12 or more fouls. That's fouling out 2 guys on the other team, by the way. Last season, there was only 23 instances of that all year. Luka has 4 of those this year. He never did that once last year. So we're starting to see like single guys like drawing fouls. So I do think the foul baiting is a part of this too, Bill.
Foul baiting. I don't think anything with the word baiting in it. Last year, the top 7 teams in free throw attempts were all between 23.3 and 23.
Yeah.
Memphis led the way at 23.3. By the way, I did not look this up until you just mentioned it. This year, we have the hold on. I'm gonna get this right. This year we have Orlando at 30.7. Jesus, how is this possible? We have 25 teams shooting at least 23.5 free throws per game. So last year we had 7. We're at 23. That's it. We have 4 teams 28 and above, and we have 12 teams 26 and above. So there's your scoring.
There's your scoring. I mean, I brought up that game in LA for a reason that had 66 foul calls, 84 free throws. The game lasted 2 hours and 54 minutes.
Oh my God.
So it's the best place to score on the free throw in the basketball game is the free throw line, according to D. Smith. So yeah, like that explains the general scoring uptick since last year. Is this and like one of the other stats I had in the piece was there were just 7 teams that committed over 20 fouls per game last year. This year, 29 teams are doing that. So everybody's doing that. And my question to you, Bill, is are these teams suddenly playing more handsy defense, or is the rules around contact allowances sort of evolving once again?
This episode of the Bill Simmons podcast is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance. When you can have State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I think it's pie chart. I would have everybody has more good players they can throw out there, and they're telling people to pick up full court, be more physical. It's noticeable when you watch all the different games. I remember Doc telling me a couple years ago with the Pacers, before we even kind of noticed what they were doing, he was like, these guards, they pick teams up for 94 feet and they're like a pain in the ass to play. And I'm like, man, I never really noticed that. And then I looked for it and I was like, oh shit, like this is really annoying. I would imagine if you're an opposing point guard. But now you see like it feels like half the league's doing it. I do wonder though, do we also have with these, now that we're playing with centers and bigger guys and offensive rebounds, teams like Houston, Detroit, does that also help with the free throw rate too? I don't know. Do you really think like the league's like you got to call this differently, call more fouls?
Well, I talked to a bunch of coaches about it. And I think what you just said about the Indiana guards bears repeating, because I talked to one coach. He's like, yeah, every year we all watch the finals. It's the first time that all the teams' coaches sort of watch basketball almost leisurely, because everybody can watch the finals except for 2 teams. And he said, yeah, like everybody saw what Carlisle was doing. And I think a lot of people did import that into their strategies this season. So I think that's fair. The other thing people were telling me is like, the league sent around a bunch of points of emphases about, the high five foul that you might have heard about with shooting, fouling a 3-point shooter, certain rules around driving offensive players and how they're going to be called. And some people said, yeah, that's really what this is too. But they've tightened it up and in favor of the offense, in favor of 3-point shooters, and in favor of driving players. So I think that explains it. It's both like a tactical adjustment league-wide, but also the league with these new points of emphasis.
Also, more good players. More guys that are just harder to guard.
Yeah.
Right? We have the most, like trying to do the Ringer 100 last week or a week and a half ago was impossible. I couldn't believe like some of the guys that were in the 50s. These are guys that would have been in the 30s, 10 years ago. So you watch every team. I was watching Sacramento in overtime last night against Minnesota. Minnesota yet again blows another lead. At what point do we start kind of side-eyeing Chris Finch with all this? Like how many terrible last minute collapses can you have? But in the end of the game, all of a sudden the Kings are going to DeRozan, who's an afterthought, who is probably available for 20 teams if anybody wants to trade for him. And he's getting really hard buckets in overtime. And it's like this didn't exist 10 years ago. Nobody just had DeMar DeRozan sitting over there, like ready to score in overtime crunch time.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about in terms of San Antonio, the two new guards when we were doing our Ringer 100 rankings. They're going to say, okay, where's Dylan Harper go? He's on here now. Where's Stephen Castle? He's jumping up way up here. And both of those guys put a lot of pressure on the defense as driving players. So I think these younger players are playing more like Shea, who also needs to be mentioned. He's a very hard player to defend legally. Without fouling, and he knows that, and he gets his way to the free throw line. So I think it's a trend that has a lot of explanations, but it sort of leads into the second trend I wanted to bring you.
Wait, can I say one thing on that really quick?
Yeah,
I always think a good way to look at this from a talent standpoint is like 4-year clusters of drafts. When you think like when the league was struggling, like 05 is a good example, that 04, 05, 06 range before like the LeBron class really ascended. The draft's just a 99, 00, 01, 02. Like we just didn't have enough good guys coming out of those drafts for a variety of reasons, right? And then as those guys round into their mid-20s and are supposed to be like the next wave of all NBA guys, we just didn't have them in the same way. And now I think what we're looking at these 2020s guys, even 2020, the COVID draft, that still had Edwards and it had Maxey. And it had Halliburton, right? And it had Desmond Bane. And you go through and it's like, shit, this is a pretty good draft, you know? And I think last year's draft, especially, like you just inject all of these young guys, these first-year players in the league who can play. Like we have 12 guys who can play 25 minutes right now.
And stylistically, they're really unique too. And I think that's the most underrated part about how the league changes over time is like we're talking about Chris Paul retiring this week. Well, he's taking the elbow jumper with him. He's taking the pull-up with him.
Right.
You're talking about DeMar. He's taking that pull-up with him, too. Now it's all floaters and drives and guys finishing at the rack and pulling up for three and step backs. Like, the older guys take stuff out when they leave with them, and the young guys import new stuff. And I think that's one of the coolest ways to think about this, too, whether it's your little 4-year package of drafts or whatever. Like these generations change the game with style too.
Yeah, Harper's got a move that I don't know if I've fully seen before, that baseline move. I've talked about it on a previous pod, but he kind of goes like a little herky-jerky, goes baseline and then can spin either way, but can spin on the baseline or spin toward the paint.
Yeah.
And it's clearly going to become one of his signature moves, but he does, I'm really, he got hurt, he missed a couple games, but even if you look at the net ratings, his net rating is a complete outlier compared to like all the other guys in that list. We'll talk about it in a second. What's your second trend?
Well, it's related. It's the rise of the full court press. So I think if you're watching the NBA this year, you're seeing everybody act like Rick Carlisle, and you're seeing everybody pick up on the defensive backcourt, and the numbers really bear this out too, Bill. We're seeing over 40 possessions in an average game when teams are picking up ball handlers behind that midcourt stripe. That's up from 33 last season. That's up from 26 2 years ago. And this stat has more than doubled in the 2020s. So what we're seeing, last year was last decade was really about like a shot selection revolution. Here we're starting to see defensive responses to some of this. And that's one of the biggest trends I'm seeing sort of in the 2020s is like, we're going to pick up your dude as soon as you inbound the ball and make it hard for you to get across and sort of initiate early offense.
One of my favorite writers, a guy named Bill Simmons, wrote a huge basketball book once upon a time. And one of the chapters I did was trying to create the perfect team of all the guys in history, right? So I did that in 09, 2010. It wasn't just like, these are the best 12 players ever. These are the 12 guys that if we're trying to beat the aliens, how would we do? What kind of looks would we have? Would we have big ball, small ball, shooting lineup? And one of the things I really had that I was really excited about was like the killer press, like 5 guys for an awesome press. Yeah. And I wrote, I'm borrowing this idea from Rick Pitino, who told Malcolm Gladwell that if he ever coached the NBA again, he would pick 5 of his bench guys to practice exclusively on a full court press, then play them once a half for 4 or 5 minutes at a time. Their sole purpose would be to create havoc, wear opponents down, exploit opposing bench guys, and shift momentum. There would be like 5 guys prowling around like cheetahs. So I picked for this out of my wine cellar team. and this is 2010, Duncan, LeBron, Pippen, 2009, Dwayne Wade, and 2008, Chris Paul. And it's just like, you guys are all playing together for 4 minutes. Go get us the ball. Now, if you were going to do that with the guys we have from the last 15 years, I think Kawhi would have to probably be in early, like mid 2010s. Kawhi would probably have to be out there because he's the all-time, let me go take that ball. So maybe you'd have LeBron, Pippen, and Kawhi, then Chris Paul, and then maybe Duncan. But this idea has been sitting there forever. What took the league so long to realize that nobody wants to dribble up against a press? And at any level of basketball, by the way.
Yeah, it's annoying. And I think it tires these guys out too. It's like, if you watch Harden, he takes his breaks, like bringing the ball up. He's like, all right, let me catch my breath. And you're just denying them that little sort of break in between rounds of action, if you will. But no team's doing it more than the Blazers. And then your team, the Celtics, are right there too. And if you have a lot of good defensive-minded guards and you're young, why not? Like you're saying, like nobody wants to see this. And in an era where everybody wants to get into early offense, we've all learned that that's where the efficient part of the shot clock is. Slowing them down and taking that away and making them sort of toil until they're 16 or 17 on the shot clock. And you hear players starting to say that too. I just don't want to make it easy. Like, why should I just let you walk it up? If you look at teams which aren't doing it, one team sticks out, which is the Lakers. And that sort of makes sense because their guards are not great defensive-minded stars.
And they didn't really have traditional guards, right?
Yeah, Luka and Austin Reeves aren't going to do this. But if you have Derek White or if you have Shaedon Sharpe and Drew Holiday and you have good depth behind them, why don't you just do this? Be these pests in the backcourt and slow down your opponent.
Well, you had that in your column today. The ultimate example of this is the Suns.
The Suns.
They're scrappy. They're trying to basically tilt the seesaw a little bit. They're using a bunch of people and they have Dylan Brooks as the focal point of all of it. And they're like, we're just going to be super fucking annoying to play against. You're not going to enjoy the experience the entire time. They played, when they played Houston, and Brooks was just in rare form. No Durant, sadly. But, they're not as talented. Houston's been awesome all year, but Phoenix just scrapping and scratching. And it's just the complete opposite of the team we saw in Austin in February.
Oh, my God.
This team that wanted no part of playing together and didn't really care about pressure or any of that stuff. What was your third trend?
Oh, my third trend. I love the Suns, though. I have the East, and I want to hear what you say because you're the historian here. Is the 2025-26 Eastern Conference the most open conference we've had in a decade or two?
For like who you could see in the finals.
I don't even know who your favorite is, right? Obviously, we talk about the Western Conference right now. If we talk about the East and West in the 2010s, we're talking about Warriors and Cavs every year, or the Spurs are in there, or there's clear favorites. The East is so wide open. I think at the beginning of the year, hey, it's the Knicks and the Cavs. And if you look at FanDuel, they still have the Cavs as the betting
It's still
favorite.
the Cavs. We haven't seen the Cavs play together all year. Have they had all of their guys together for more than one game in a row?
But we did see the Cavs play in the playoffs last year, Bill.
No, we did. We did. Garland was hurt, though.
It was, but if that's your favorite, I'm fine with that. I just think there's a wide openness to the Eastern Conference that's very exciting. And you have teams like Detroit and Toronto and Miami who are threatening to sort of crash that party. And you could tell me the Hawks are in that group too. But you look at the West and you're like, okay, this is the Thunders, unless the Nuggets have a postseason run of the ages. But the East just seems like it's the most wide open that I can remember any conference since I've been covering the league.
Yeah, I'm going to go. The one that jumped into my head as you were laying that out was 07, because that's the weirdest team that made a finals, the 07 Cavaliers, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we thought Detroit was going to make it. That was kind of the tail end of their run, even though they made it last year. They were 53 wins that year. Either they lost, did they lose Wallace? I'm just going to check this really fast. Did they lose Ben Wallace that year? They did. So they were kind of like we were kind of looking for, is there anybody else? Was it Miami? Miami had that kind of year after the title year. Toronto won 47. LeBron won 50 basically by himself. He had nobody on that team. The Bulls 149, but that was one of those years where we're like, is there what? And meanwhile, all the action was in the West. This year, the three best teams are in the West, right?
Again,
It's like unassailable. Those are the three best teams. I think Cleveland has a chance out of everybody we have in the East to climb up. But you mentioned, I think Detroit's a little closer to that conversation than you gave them credit for. Like they're clearly 3, and they might even be 2. Atlanta is the wild card to me because of some of the advanced stats with the non-trade lineups. I think that they have one of those lineups is like one of the best lineups in the league. The one with Porzingis and the 3 long guys and Alexander Walker. I'm not counting out Orlando yet.
Right.
That was one of the things I was going to talk about with you. When you look at the 5-man lineups, Orlando's best 5 guys, the whole reason they made that trade, those guys are plus 19.7 when they all play together.
Oh, really? With the Bane and the and then the 2 young, or the Boncaro,
just their best 5 guys.
Wendell,
yeah. That tells me there's room with bench stuff, or it tells me their bench is terrible, or maybe both. But Atlanta's best 5, no Trey, is plus 14.8. And I think that means something because Atlanta has the trade possibility if they wanted to get nuts and trade him. They also had that giant trade exception if they wanted to just add one more bench guy. But I think they have the most room to kind of maneuver with the roster they have. If Detroit, everybody's throwing the marketing trade. I personally would not fuck with Detroit. I wouldn't do it. Zach and I talked about it Thursday. We used the what would Sam Presti do rule, and we both agreed Sam Presti would not do anything.
Right. No, he would have traded with Joe Dumars to elevate his draft position for next year, which is looking like an incredible move by Onsi in the Hawks front office.
Right.
I love
that's the thing. They have that crazy trade chip if they want to use it. They have this New Orleans pick that is going to be top 6.
And again, if we're doing what would Presti do, the move is to keep that pick and get a Chet Holmgren type player on your team next year and be ready to go. And I love the Hawks, not just this year, but more so deep into the future. I mean, Jalen Johnson is great, and Dyson Daniels, like they have such an identity now. But Detroit's the one.
There's some Risa Shea momentum. I don't know if you've been following. It's a little momentum with him.
Risa Shea, Reed Shepherd, still a conversation in many practice facilities. But I want to push back on something. I love the Detroit Pistons. I thought they should have beat the Knicks in the playoffs last year. You know, no disrespect to the Knicks. There was some tight calls there. I feel like Detroit was still learning how to win. They had this weird Malik Beasley thing, which in retrospect was very distracting. But they're 15-2, man. And they look great protecting the paint, and they look good attacking the paint. They have this Cunningham-Duren pick-and-roll thing that is emerging as one of the most reliable 2-man games in the Eastern Conference. The shooting is a little questionable. Duncan Robinson is filling that role nicely, but still beyond Duncan if Tobias Harris isn't playing a lot. But I love Detroit. I think they deserve to be in the Knicks Cavs conversation. If I had to elevate one team, it's definitely Detroit, and I'll take the 15-2 record as Exhibit A there.
Yeah, I would have those 3. I think Detroit has officially moved into the conversation with the other 2 now. Yeah. I would still take Cleveland. And then Orlando is the wild card, and then Atlanta is the wild card. Other than that, Milwaukee being a play-in team, but having Giannis come back for the last 45 games of the year and still having to see them in a 1 game or in a 2-7, something like that. I just don't want to see Giannis in a playoff series, especially like with how driven he is. Now they're a little under 500 now, and the longer he goes out, their lineups are really all the stuff is really bad without him. Like that, I think the lineup they played the most without Giannis was like minus 19 or something. But in eye test wise, it's like, ugh. And that, the Kuzma roller coaster stuff. We'll take a quick break and then going to come back and throw some other stuff at you. The Bill Simmons podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. This Thanksgiving, FanDuel introducing a brand new way to parlay together. Let's parlay together, everybody. It's called Pass the Leg. Here's how it works. Start a group, add your pick, then pass it to your friends so they can add theirs. When everyone's done, each look at the parlay with your own funds. On top, everyone gets a 50% profit boost to use on their build. In Missouri, get ready because FanDuel is going live on December 1st. FanDuel, Play your game. You must be 21 plus, present in select states, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration, max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Ads. The best B2B marketing gets wasted on the wrong people. So when you want to reach the right professionals, use LinkedIn Ads. LinkedIn has grown to a network of over 1 billion professionals, including 130 million decision makers. And that's where it stands apart from the other ad buys. You could target your buyers by job title, industry, company role, seniority, skills, company revenue. So you can stop wasting budget on the wrong audience. That's why LinkedIn Ads generates the highest B2B return on ad spend on all online ad networks. Seriously, all of them. Spend $250 on your first campaign on LinkedIn Ads and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Just go to linkedin.com/SimmonsBill. Terms and conditions apply. All right. Any other trends before we keep going?
Well, I got, you want one? The nerds are really talking about this one, which is picks.
Wow.
Picks are in decline. So when you and I were growing up, it was dump it down to McHale or Jabbar, and the post game was the bread and butter action of pro basketball. You know, the D'Antoni Suns obviously made it a pick and roll game. But here we are in 2025, and the epicenter of this movement is in Miami. I don't know if you're following.
Oh, I sure am. I hate that I like watching them.
Oh, it's electric to watch.
Yeah, they're really fun to watch. I hate myself.
But it's also unprecedented. They're setting fewer screens than any team has in decades in the player tracking era by a wide margin. They're just saying, let's move the ball quickly and see if we can find a driving gap and attack it before anybody's ready, set on defense. So it's fun to watch. People are comparing it.
It's like a run and shoot football offense.
That's a great analogy.
They're just going. They're trying to just get downhill and catch people when they're backpedaling. Seems to be their entire strategy, and it works.
Yeah, they're number one in pace. They're setting the fewest picks in the league, and they're scoring by far more points per game, even though they're number 12 in offensive efficiency. But it's a brand new look. I think last year, Adebayo set 27 picks per game, Bill, if you want to drill down on a player level. He's setting 8 picks a game this year. They're just doing something completely different, and they've gotten off to a really good start with a 12th ranked offense without great offensive personnel. Remember, Tyler Herro hasn't played much at all. Bam Adebayo's missed time, and they're number 12 on offense. And by the way, their team is built for defense. They're a top 5 defense. If Herro comes back and he fits into this, which why wouldn't he? And if Adebayo's regularly available, I expect them to be flirting with the top 10 offense with this new look. The defense is great. Will teams around the NBA start to copy this just like they copied elements of the Spurs or D'Antoni systems? That's what the nerds are talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't realize the nerds, that was that much scuttlebutt for that. Can I ask you, I don't think Miami should do this trade, so I'm going to preface that right now. So don't aggregate this, because this is a no for Miami. I'm just talking about it as a conception, because I think Sabonis is available on the Kings. And I was just wondering, would it be more fun to watch Sabonis the way Miami is playing than Bam Adebayo in this offense with what they're trying to do? It's just, my point is, I've always wanted to see Sabonis in an offense like this, where you're just going and he's just rebounding. And I always thought he was underrated as like a guy on the move. And he kind of gets pigeonholed with whoever the fuck is on the Kings every year, where everybody stands around.
Yeah, there's ball stoppers everywhere, but he can dribble, pass, and shoot. I mean, I love Bam Adebayo, but I think the passing and the movement that they're trying to do there in Miami, he would fit in.
Bam can do it too, obviously. Yeah, but it's just like, I wish. It's too bad that's not a fair trade, because it would be fun to see him on that team.
Well, we'll see what they are once they get Herro in there and Adebayo in there. I mean, I don't know. I know we all respect Eric Spoelstra. You're afraid of the Miami Heat because they've scarred you for years.
Well, they're Michael Myers. You think they're dead, and then all of a sudden there's another movie coming out. It's like, I thought he blew up in a fire. He's back. His mask burned.
I'll compare him to Greg Popovich because he's played many different ways. Eric Spoelstra. Now, he's been in the league so long. And then one of the
Right.
signs of a great coach, he doesn't get fired from the place he's been coaching, but he's sort of overseen these different motifs, like obviously starting with the Heatles, but then moving on with the Dragic era, the Heat culture, Butler era, and now this. Like he plays different ways, and I really respect that about him. And this is just one of the more innovative things we're seeing in the NBA this season.
Here's what doesn't make a ton of sense, and I think is bad for them long term. They just don't have the horses. Like, they don't have a top 25 player. I had Bam at 27. They have Hero and Powell. They're getting a great Powell year. Great comeback Hawkes year. Hero's coming back. But I think if you're actually going to think about, like, can they make the finals? I think it's really hard to make it if you don't have a top 25 guy. So I don't know. It would have to be one of the weirdest seasons in the history of the league. Can I give you mentioned that pace thing. Miami being first in pace. What were the odds on that in August? Like 100-1?
No, I mean, there was some talk about this Grizzlies consultant coming over and talking to Spo about this newfangled offense, but you'd have to be really deep in Discord
first
to predict that Miami Heat would be. Nobody saw this coming.
Clippers are 29th, which fits the eye test. The 30th team. Do you know who's 30th?
Is it your team?
It's my team.
Yeah.
I thought before the year they were going to be gunning threes, going like kind of like just trying to cause chaos. They've done the opposite. And weirdly, it's kind of worked. Like, they have a winning record. Now, that granted, they've had a little bit of schedule luck. Like, they played Orlando the other day, and Orlando was missing everybody.
Yeah.
But their defensive rating is a little higher than I thought. I think they might be, what are they, 5th? Yeah, they're 5th in defensive rating. They're 3rd in 3 points attempted. They're last in free throws attempted, and they're last in pace. And it matches what you watch game to game. I don't know what this team is. White hasn't had a good year at all.
No.
They have like 3. Jalen's been excellent. And then Nemi has been like the most underrated guy in the league.
Yeah.
And he sprained his ankle. I'm on multiple text threads about, oh my God, we can't lose Kata. Like, this is things Celtics fans are texting each other. So that's been weird. I have a couple offensive ratings things for you. So Houston is first.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers. They're 30th in 3 points attempted.
Yes.
First in rebounds by a wide margin. And they basically just flipped everything we thought basketball was as we headed into the mid-2020s. Like, spacing, shooting, switchability on defense. It's like Houston's like, nope.
Yeah.
Here's this giant team where we're really good at shooting twos, and we're going to crash the boards, and we're going to have the number one offense this way. Can you make any sense of this?
Yeah, I looked into it for the column last week, and it's remarkable. We forgot about rebounding, I think, generally, as a fundamentally important part of the sport. And Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun are here to remind us, dude. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bill Simmons, this year's Houston Rockets team is on pace to set the record for offensive rebounding percentage by recovering over 40% of their own missed shots. So, yeah, they're not shooting threes, but when they miss, the defensive stop hasn't happened yet. And a lot of those second chance points, those second chances are among the most efficient options you can have as an offense. And they just have more of them than anybody we've ever seen. Credit to Steven Adams, but also Sengun. And just one of the things when Van Fleet got hurt is, they put Amen Thompson in at point guard. And by the way, I got in trouble by saying he's not a point guard. He identifies as a point guard. He has his whole life. But the larger point is,
stop it. He's not a point guard. He's a guard that dribbles the ball up and you can run stuff through him. He's not a point guard. Chris Paul is a point guard.
I got corrected sitting next to some Rockets coach, but don't say that about him.
Stop. They can settle down.
But one of the things when Van Fleet went down is like, okay, now every dude in this lineup is a rebounder, right? And so Durant is one of the tallest threes when they're playing double bigs that you'll ever see in this league. And then you have, people like Tariq and guys like Jabari, Amen Thompson, who are incredible rebounder. So it is one of the more fascinating pathways we've seen to the number one offense in a very long time. When Joe Mazzulla had figured out the math, hey, what if we just shot more threes than everybody else? It was kind of this sort of cliche way to get there. What I love about this Rockets team is they are reminding us that you can get there with just brute force inside and grabbing rebounds from your opponents.
Oh, were you and I doing the podcast where we talked about Reed Shepherd?
Oh, yeah.
And whether we did that one, right? And I just think it's worked out as it's a 10 out of 10 if you're a Rockets fan for all right, how am I feeling heading into Thanksgiving about Reed Shepherd getting some of these Van Vliet minutes? He's looks way more like Mark Price than Brent Price. So if you're doing the Price brothers seesaw, which I think is an important way to look at him, looks like Mark Price's doppelganger. I thought Friday was one of the games of the year. It was NBA Cup, whatever. It was more like let's size each other up. Denver didn't have all their guys.
Yeah.
Houston should have won the game, it felt like, and Denver just did what they usually do sometimes with Joker, where they're like, yeah. And of course, they lost the next night because it really was like a high-level playoff game. But I also thought it was a good game for Houston because I think it showed them like Shepherd can play in these games now. We can get 20 to 25 out of him. All of our guys kind of makes sense against this Denver team. And if you're going to beat Denver with bigger guys and length, and Jokic is going to get what he's going to get. Şengün was the one X factor. He wasn't good.
Yeah.
And was that I'm playing the guy I always get compared to, and I just had a bad game, or was there something more there? I don't know.
But yeah, those three teams, and you alluded to this earlier, those are the three best teams in the NBA, right? We have Houston, we have Denver, and we have OKC.
And OKC levitating over both of them.
Well, that's my last trend, by the way. But
yeah,
dude, I think anybody who says all these teams are playing the same, just watch those three teams. It couldn't be more different. It couldn't be more different. And you and I have to do this every time this year, it feels like, but this time of year is like, this is awesome. I love watching the Rockets play the Nuggets or the Nuggets play the Thunder. I just pray everybody's healthy. But I do want to shout out Ime Udoka, Ben Sullivan, that staff for finding efficient offense in a way that people haven't found it. And it's a little bit like what's going on in Miami. There are these cool stylistic trends that are finding success in the NBA.
Yeah, there's a couple good games tomorrow night. And the most interesting one to me, and this ties into Houston and a team I wanted to talk about quick. I know you're going to talk about OKC in a second, but Houston, Golden State. Golden State, they've had some injuries. They're not going to have their whole team. Golden State's 21st offensive rating. With the team they have, if they're not going to be better offensively, like to me, Golden State, their record, and they could point to a whole bunch of things, but they're basically been a 500 team. Conceptually, I'm worried as you know, I love Curry. I'm really worried about this team because I don't think they're big enough. And I think they kind of know they're not big enough, but I think where the league has gone, even where it was in 10 years ago, 2015, even that year they had Bogut. Yeah. They had the ability to bring in somebody with some size. I just think when they're playing these like Steven Adams and Şengün together, or they're playing Portland, where Portland can give you cling in, and then all of a sudden Rob Williams is back. They just can't match up with these teams. They can't rebound. They give up too many offensive rebounds, and they don't get second chance points. So everything, it's like one of those end of Brady's Patriots teams where everything had to be absolutely perfect just to get a drive. And if one guy dropped a pass or a pass got tipped, you're just going, the punter's coming in. Golden State, like everything has to be perfect. Curry has to be awesome. Butler has to be incredible. It's just not easy enough for them. And I really think they need to make a trade.
And Horford needs to be available. I say them and the Clippers.
He's old. He's a 50-game-a-year guy who doesn't rebound anymore. He's not going to solve this.
I call them and the Clippers the Danny Glover lethal weapon teams, dude. They're too old for this shit. Like this is a league that's been dominated, and you've written about this better than anybody for a generation. This is a 20-something man's league for the most part. You can find exceptions to that, but look at OKC, man. Look at the best teams, and you're going to get pushed around, and it's just like, especially once you're on the wrong side of 34, 35, it's somebody else is in better shape than you. Somebody else is hungrier than you.
There's more wear and tear.
Yeah.
You're not recovering for the third game in 4 nights. There's a trade I think they can make. Can I float this at you?
Yeah.
It can't happen until mid-January. Obviously, Kuminga's involved.
Yeah.
Why does Gafford have to be on Dallas?
Oof. Dallas has too many bigs. If you're the what do they call it, the interim GM of the Dallas Mavericks, I guess is Michael Finley, you have to look at your front line and be like, we have too many guys up here.
They have the second defensive rated. They're number 2. And they're 30th in offense. And it adds up when you watch them because they don't have a point guard. They finally at least realized that Cooper Flagg how to actually try to grow his career instead of ruin it.
Yeah.
But what if it was Kuminga to Chicago, Kobe White to Dallas, and then Gafford and expiring to Golden State? Does anyone have to throw a pick into that trade? Because the moment White came back to Chicago, it kind of screwed them up. I'm not positive they need him. And I actually think they probably need another wing and more explosiveness. And Kobe White's going to be a free agent. Do you want to pay Kobe White if you're Chicago when you already just paid Giddey? There's some sort of ring around a rosy trade with that. But I like the idea of Kobe White in Dallas, who desperately needs somebody like him.
Yep.
And then Gafford to Golden State. If they could turn Kuminga into Gafford somehow. I'm not going to say they're going to make the finals, but I think that at least gives them a puncher's chance to win a couple rounds.
Yeah, they've been at their best. And remember, Looney's not there anymore. He was there forever. They don't have that traditional 5-man, with all due respect to Post. I like it. Kuminga, obviously, it's not clicking. It's as awkward as it's ever been.
Well, they can't play him and Draymond and Butler together. It doesn't work if those are 3 of your guys. You're just not going to rebound well enough.
And the Dallas point, like Dallas needs to start moving. They're going to be really active at this deadline, or they're going to have some disappointed fans because they have too many pieces to move around, and they need to start looking at the future around Cooper and Lively, in my opinion.
Well, Lively, who's they just said is hurt even longer now. So I don't know if that affects your thinking at all.
No, it doesn't. I think we'll see. I think it's a foot thing, which is, as you know, is you got to be really careful with those. But assuming he's healthy, those are 2 pretty great building blocks for a rebuild. If you have Cooper Flagg and a relatively healthy Derek Lively, that's a pretty fast rebuild. I think a lot of teams in the league would kill to have that as your starting point. But everything else should be on the table. PJ, Kyrie, AD is obviously already being floated out there. But this is a team that needs to get young fast and get a return on some of these players that aren't in that aging sort of that part of their aging curve as soon as possible.
I'm not ready to throw away this season yet if I'm Dallas. Because I think I like a lot of their players. They missed on D'Lo. I tried to warn everybody, and then Kyrie got mad at me. Sorry. If they had somebody who could have the ball and create shots and actually care about other guys on the team and try to set them up and things like that, I think that only helps Flagg. The only thing I care about is how do we help Flagg? Well, step 1, get him a guard who thinks about other players on the team and can create stuff. That's step 1. Step 2 is how do you get rid of this weird logjam you have, especially with Davis coming back, where you have to play Flagg basically as a 2 or a 3. So you have too many big guys. Trade one of the big guys for a guard. This is a fucking layup. Build around Leva. You're not going to be able to trade Anthony Davis. He's not going anywhere. Nobody's trading for him. That trade doesn't exist. It's not going to happen until this summer. He's going to be on your team this year. So maybe you could try to make a run and try to get a play-in team because some of these West teams are bad, and they're not that far out of it. What's they're
5-14, dude. I mean,
5-14, but the 10 seed is 6-12.
That's true.
And that's Memphis. That's
true.
with the John Morant thing couldn't be going worse.
Yeah.
But could they leapfrog Sacramento, Clippers, Utah, Memphis, Portland? I think they could be a 9 seed. I would try to be thinking now how to make the team better.
That's interesting.
And they have Davis. Davis is, I don't know what version of him we're getting when he comes back, but Davis, when he's healthy, is a top 20 player in the league.
That's right. When he's healthy.
So I don't know. I wouldn't punt on the season if I was Dallas.
It's compelling. I think they got to start the rebuild. But but they
The
don't
thing
have.
is, they couldn't do that Kuminga trade for another month or a month and a half because you can't do it until January 15th. So maybe it'll be too late by then.
Well, and the other thing to watch with Dallas is they do have a wounded front office, to put it mildly. Are they going to let Michael Finley or an interim GM come in and make
intellectually wounded or just wounded?
just wounded? They lost their leader.
Leader. Jason Kidd didn't know about the trade.
Dude. Hey.
He had no idea.
Blindsided.
Nobody knew. Dumont didn't know. It was Nico, his solo shooter. He was JFK on the 6th floor, just acting alone. CIA not involved. Ridiculous.
But do they want to bring in another executive to manage this rebuild around Cooper Flagg?
I'm right here. I'll move to Dallas. I'm throwing my hat in the ring. It's time.
You hear that, folks?
Ready to do it. I'll leave the ringer.
Don't leave the ringer.
I'll turn it over to Gahal and Eduardo.
There you go.
Now, the Mavericks, that's a great job. Their fans, I will say the fans, I get it. The most traumatizing sports trade ever. But the fans have to move forward now. Flagg's really good. He's not even 19 yet. He's finishing games. They're running plays for him in crunch time. He's an awesome additive player. There's good pieces here. I don't think they're out of the playoff race. And I think Nico's gone. They did that. I'd be a little worried about the Jason Kidd. I'm not positive whether he wants to coach or whether he wants to coach this team. I have no idea. But Davis is going to be in the team. There's no Davis trade. You're not getting 4 first-round picks for him. It's not happening. I don't think. Who's the team?
I don't know.
I'm not trading for him if I'm Detroit. I'm changing my identity if I get him. I don't want to do that. I won 13 straight games.
I was watching Phoenix without Mark Williams the other day, and that was one that crossed my mind. Is because of the Kentucky connection with Devin Booker. Now I haven't done the research on the salaries and that, but I was just like, oh yeah, the Phoenix might be a good place for him to land. But I don't know, if I was in a front office, my job would be to bring to the general manager all the risk associated with the move, and Anthony Davis is nothing if not human risk. And signing up for 2 years of Anthony Davis at a big number is just a lot of risk for one of these teams.
If you were the Knicks and Davis for Towns as the focal point of something was on the table, who hangs up faster?
I think the Mavs are staying on the phone because they want to hear what they're looking to move on with their lives.
Also, Towns is kind of a better fit for this team they have with these multiple centers than at least he could be on the outside stretching the floor versus.
And he's younger. I mean, he's a younger player.
Can you do your OKC thing quick before I'm going to bring House in with us?
Well, this involves Joe House's team too. I wanted to ask the sports guy this question: are we more likely to see a historically great NBA record this season, or a historically bad NBA record this season?
I've been on this regular season win record for the last month. And the odds have been dropping. I think, what was it, plus 700 or something on FanDuel for them to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, House is here.
Oh.
House, are you recording?
I am, of course.
Remember your friend Kirk Goldsberry?
One of my favorites. The
House?
OGKG, baby. Let's go.
The little ticket.
House, OKC is plus 880 to break the wins record on FanDuel. 74 plus wins, plus 880. Is that more realistic to you than the Wizards breaking the loss record? If you had to pick one, Wizards most losses ever, Thunder most wins ever, what would you pick?
The Thunder. I mean, the Wizards could win basketball games. They could. There are NBA level players, not many of them, but they're playing these rotation shenanigans and so forth. There's
you're
a
1
couple
in
wins
15.
in there.
How's it going to get better? You're going to be buying out veterans.
Play the NBA players at the end of the games. I do regret and resent them not trying to win a few of these games at the end of the in the fourth quarter where they're competitive. There's a few that I haven't been a fan of.
Would it bother you if they were the worst team of all time, or would that just be like, all right, we got a great draft?
House has no.
What's the difference?
His body's full of Wizards bullet scars at this point. It's just another scar for his leg. Can you do some of your OKC stuff, Kirk?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the game the way I do, there's a compelling case for the Thunder to beat this record. They're setting the net rating record once again. The Bulls.
Yeah, after 18 games, it's the highest, right?
Well, so there's a case against it, but the case for it is, the net rating is over 16. The 95, 96 Bulls have the record at plus 13.
Wow.
Remember that when the Warriors won 73, they didn't even lead the NBA in net rating. That was our Spurs in San Antonio that year. Thanks, Zaza. But
did you hang a banner for that or no?
No, Zaza made sure of that. We also had another counterpoint, though. For those who don't want to see this record fall, the Thunder have had the easiest schedule in the league so far.
Well, how about counter to the counter? No Jalen Williams the entire year.
Counter to the counter. So that's where it goes. So I think the over-under is 68.5 right now on FanDuel, which is absurd. I would take the over. And the only question there to me is how far over can they get?
OKC's reached a point when they lose, I'm shocked.
Right.
And I know this because they've only lost once.
Yeah.
And
it was shocking.
If they lose like their next couple games, they're home for Minnesota, home Phoenix, at Portland to finish the month. Those would be 3 shockers for me if they lost any of those games. Then you go into December, they're at Golden State, home Dallas, at Utah, home Clippers. They could be 24-1 heading into at Minnesota on Friday, December 19th. That's some rarefied territory. Like the Warriors, what did they start out? 25-0? We've had some teams start out like 24-1, 27-1, but
I want to see like how much of it as we map this out before. So the implied probability at plus 880 is a little better than 10%. That feels like a good, worth a dabble. But how many times are they doing 3 games in 4 nights? What's the back-to-back situation look like? Like you would want to map some of that stuff out. I'm not worried about like strength of schedule because like, I'm still mad at the Cavaliers last night sitting virtually everybody against Toronto, basically conceding the tiebreaker against Toronto as though Cleveland's going to finish so much better than Toronto this upcoming season that they can go ahead and concede the tie. They've lost 3 times to the Raptors and they have a game last night. Everybody sits. Like, come on.
The other thing the last thing I say on the Thunder is like they're going to encounter so many games, and this is very 2025 NBA, and I don't like it, where the other team isn't trying to win. To your point, I think when you talk about the 96 Bulls or the 16 Warriors, is it fair to say that this potential record could fall in part because there's more teams not trying their best on a nightly basis in the NBA?
So are you saying against OKC specifically or just in general?
Just in general, like teams are tanking at a higher level. More teams are tanking this year with a deep draft. So if they do get to 74, is there an asterisk in part because there's so many of these Wizards, Utah?
Go look at the 96 Bulls. That league sucked that year.
Fair enough.
That was one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons that happened. It was like we had we had expansion teams in 2 clusters right before they did that. And I don't know that the 73-9, I actually think there's probably some more impressive records. I mean, the crazy thing with Jordan was never losing 3 games in a row for the last 6 Bulls seasons. That's one of my favorite stats ever. Can I throw you Toronto? 6th offensive rating, 2nd in assists per game, and 27th in 3-pointers attempted. Some of it's schedule related, right? Zach and I talked about that last week. Schedule's lined up really nicely for them. Mm-hmm. But eye test wise, I don't mind watching them. Like I actually think it's a team that makes sense together. But do you think that rating, does that seem too high to you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's some shooting luck on both ends of the court. I don't want to rain on the Canadian parade. But if you look at the 3-point shooting percentage on defense, it's a little lower than you would expect. And on offense, it might be higher. I think Scotty Barnes is shooting 40%. I love Scotty, but that's not where he's going to land this year. But they're bringing the ball to the hoop. They're attacking. They're really physical. And I do love Scotty Barnes because he's not Giannis, but with a head of steam and he gets going. He's been great. Yeah. And then I finally
bought in after 5 years. So I'm finally in on Scotty.
Yeah, I'm in. It took some time.
Why are
and
you shrugging, House?
Yeah.
Because he sucked last year. I mean, it's perfectly fine. He's playing
him,
much better. He's playing, yes. I mean, his shooting percentages across the board last year, which was emblematic of what that team was, sort of designed for, what their goals were. They had injuries throughout the season, and they decided to do the quiet tank with about 30 games left. They pulled everybody off the court. So you didn't get any. They paid Scotty Barnes all of this money, and then he didn't show up. But I like this version of Toronto quite a bit.
By the way, that's a great name for a blog in the 2000s, The Quiet Tank. We're going to see some quiet tankers pretty soon. I think the quiet tanks, I keep waiting for it with my team to see. My team just keeps winning every time I think the tank's about to happen. House has been quiet betting Toronto over and over again. That's been one of your teams, right? Toronto and Phoenix have been your two teams.
Well, and Toronto was a lock for me, the over. I mean, I think I got them at 39.5 in the before the season started. I love
screw
them.
You. The best stat of all time this year, OKC being first in defensive rating by 7.9 points. I've never seen anything like that. Dallas is second, Detroit's third, Houston's fifth. The net rating stuff, anyone over 20 minutes a game, all the leaders are from OKC and Denver. And then Suggs pops in there, plus 17.2. Dylan Harper, 16.8. Steven Adams, 16.8. Anunoby, 16.5. And then my guy, Kada, 16.4. House, stick around. Kirk, can you stick around for one more quick segment? Or
Hell yeah.
All right. We're going to take one more break. I want to talk point guards with you guys. This Thanksgiving, FanDuel's letting you pass the leg to your friends and family with a fun new way to bet. So let's break it down. Open Pass the Leg in the FanDuel Sportsbook app and begin by creating a unique link for your group. Add your legs. Invite and share with friends. Once friends are finished adding their legs, add the group parlay to your bet slip. Finally, use your Pass the Leg PBT, last but not least, to boost your winnings and place your bet. Sal, House, and DeBundo, they're creating their own group, Pass the Leg bet on Cowboys versus Chiefs. I would love to get in on that one before Sal and House eat all the turkey and forget to pass the leg. So go check out that parlay. Throw it in to whatever you want to do for your bets for Thanksgiving and for Black Friday and everything else. And on Wednesday, The Ringer will be sharing our final group bet. Stay tuned to social for that. All right, two topics. Didn't prep you for either of them. It's 25 years of the 21st century. Thinking back a little bit to everything we've seen. And I was thinking about John Morant, who I've just have been so disappointed by for so many different reasons, as most basketball fans have been the last couple of years. Even the Klay Thompson thing, like Klay Thompson's NBA royalty. Like, settle down. Don't talk shit to Klay Thompson. Anyway, I was wondering, has he thrown his hat in the ring for one of the most disappointing stars of the past 25 years? And what are the qualifications for that list, House? Because I don't think injuries are fair. It's like, oh, I'm so disappointed in Jay Williams. Well, he got in a motorcycle accident, hurt his leg. Like that doesn't count. Greg Oden, I can't be disappointed by. But I made a list of the guys I was the most disappointed by. And I'm not even going to read all the lists, especially because probably all of them have a player podcast at this point. But I think my number one most disappointing guy of the last 25 years is Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because
that makes a lot of sense.
I think he was there for like a year and a half when it was like, I see the vision of what Ben Simmons, I think he can be one of the 10 best guys in the league. Like it's right there. You kind of look like LeBron sometimes when you have a head of steam downhill, and defensively, you might be one of the 3 best guys in the league, and you are a foundation block of a team that could maybe win a title. And then it just, that Atlanta series, it went sideways, and I'm disappointed by it. So would that be a good candidate for you guys? Is Ja starting to nudge toward the top here, Kirk?
Yeah, he definitely is. In part because I loved watching him play basketball at such a high level.
Me too.
And he was so young and so ascendant and so confident and cocky. And like those series against the Warriors were just thrilling to watch. And, I hear Chris Vernon in my head with just he had the city too. Like he had this whole identity of Memphis and all this. And it was like, oh, this is perfect. The alignment of the player and the city and the highlights were incredible too. It wasn't like boring greatness, but yeah, it's been, I think I'd put him ahead of Ben Simmons, but that might be recency bias just because I loved how I loved watching Ja Morant play.
House?
I mean, Ben Simmons to me has to be number one because was he first team or second team?
His second team All NBA, I think.
All NBA and first team All NBA defense, right?
Yeah.
So has he sniffed that? What's at the
Ja might have been third team, but Ja was, they had, I guess the highlight for him was that Golden State series when they went toe to toe with those guys. They showed clips of that the other day when they were talking about his history with Golden State. And even in that series, he just looks more explosive than anything we've seen this year. So he's got to be in there.
Yeah. So we're not counting first round busts.
No.
So Markelle Fultz,
I'll give you a couple others.
Disappointment. Go ahead.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz is a tough one because he's disappointing, but I also think he in retrospect, I wonder how much some of that was his fault. It seemed like he had some physical stuff with the shoulder. Like Zion to me is on the list, but I think can still play out of it just because I don't think he's taken the body piece of it, the staying in shape, taking care of himself. I just don't think he's done it. And I think that's the biggest reason he's had so many issues. I don't think it's debatable, right? And he's one of those guys you watch from afar and you're like, why can't this guy figure it out? So I think that has to qualify. I had Darko. I don't know how much of that was his fault, but Darko was really talented. And I don't really know why it didn't happen. This isn't like a Kwame Brown thing where Kwame Brown got drafted out of high school, ended up staying in the league for a while, right? And it wasn't his fault he went first and that somebody thought he was better as an 18-year-old than Pau Gasol, which is just the wrong opinion.
Somebody was Michael Jordan.
Somebody was the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Darko was good. He just was a fucking mess. But that one still bugs me.
Bad
he
situation,
was a 7-foot guy
timing.
who could shoot threes and, he was athletic. Kirk's smiling.
Oh, I love was he too early for his time?
God, such a great point.
I don't know.
If he goes to a different team, he's not on this. He's not the mascot of a 2004 Pistons title team, and he's just on Charlotte for a couple years. Does it turn out okay for him? I don't know.
Couldn't he have been Kristaps Porzingis 1.0? Couldn't he have been?
I don't know. You could do the Instagram thing with him where it's like Darko Milicic was a problem, and you could cut like 2 minutes of highlights from him and be like, I kind of see it. He's a lefty. He had that little lefty hook. I liked him.
For this exercise, let me interrupt you for just 1 second. If you put Ben Simmons number one, where's Joel Embiid?
Yeah.
I thought about him. He didn't make my list because I think physically it's just been one thing after another the entire time. How much does he get blamed for that? I don't know. But he had issues coming into the league. He had knee injuries coming out of the gate.
Okay.
Whether he could have done stuff on his own, I don't know. But, he also won an MVP. He had some really good years. To me, he's more in that Chris Webber area where it's like, oh, there's a version of this where this is a way better career.
Never played in the Eastern Conference Final.
He never did.
Series.
Can I nominate somebody for your list?
Please.
Lakers center went out.
Andrew Bynum?
Yes.
Okay.
He was on my list.
Okay.
So he was on my I'm not sure list because he had some knee stuff.
He did. And some brain stuff.
Well, he definitely, I don't know if he made a lot of friends during the course of his career, but it seemed like his body broke down. But House, I didn't know if it was because he was carrying too much weight. He's one of those centers where it's like, but yeah, 08, 09, 10, that guy was, you were scared of him when they posted him up.
Yeah.
I had, this is a tough one for House. I think he belongs on the list. Now, I know he had some personal problems, but half of the guys on this list probably did. But Steve Francis,
oh, sure.
Who was 26-6 and was the focal point of a Tracy McGrady trade. And his career was basically over before he hit 30. But he just from the get-go, when he didn't want to go to Vancouver, and it just was never, there was a better player in there somewhere, and we never got the career. All right, my next one, I'm still mad at Derek Williams, who I think was the second pick. I think I was really high on him in the draft diaries, and I don't understand. He was great in college. He was the perfect stretch four who was could be a rim runner, but also hit threes. And he's moving into this 2010s era, and I still don't know what happened. Really makes me mad, House. We thought we were all in on that dude coming out of college. But remember the Arizona stuff? It was like, how is this guy not going to be an awesome pro? I'm also mad at Jimmer Fredette. I don't know why he couldn't put it together. We're moving into the three-point shooting era.
Yeah.
The guy had 30-foot range. He couldn't have been like the 10th man. He couldn't have been Peyton Pritchard, House.
He could have been. He had plenty of chances.
House has bailed us. House, well, I got to give House some red meat.
I'm thinking this through. We don't have you didn't define the parameters. So is Marvin Williams a disappointment?
No, because I was ready to be disappointed by them. I'll give you some red meat.
All right.
Anthony Davis.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Let's get frisky. NBA top 75 player.
And a ring. Got a ring. Yeah. Has one.
Should he been Tim Duncan?
I'm not disappointed by Anthony Davis.
All right. I put him honorable mention. I just want to talk it out. Baron Davis.
KG, what do you think?
I think he has a couple of historic moments. I don't know how high I was of him coming out of UCLA. I think he had a decent NBA career, but I can see why people who watched him play either early in the NBA thought that he was destined for more than he actually got.
He's on the list for me because I was going to those Clipper games. I thought he was so talented. And then I remember Nash talking once about how Baron Davis was the hardest guy for him to play in the entire league. And he had that whole run and he had a good career. He got a couple big contracts. There was a big game element to him that we saw in the 07 Warriors Mavs series where it was like the bigger the stage, the better he got. And I never thought he was in the right shape for most of his career. He had some knee stuff, but I thought he should have been awesome. I put OJ Mayo on there. And then Vince Carter, obviously, has to be on this list.
Yeah.
I just, even though Vince Carter is going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Deserves it.
Average 25, 26, 27 a game some year, but it's just never from the heights of that early Toronto stuff. When you go all the way through to the end of Toronto to the Nets, then he shows up on Phoenix and he's in Dallas. And it just felt like somebody that should have been the best guy on really good teams for 7-8 years. And it never happened, House. One of our most frustrating players that we would talk about.
Yeah, he never found the situation that was going to give him a chance at a ring. I mean, what was the best team that he played on?
Why wouldn't have been in Orlando in 2010? I never understood that. He's playing with an all-NBA center. The league wasn't in the greatest shape, right? LeBron's Cleveland thing's about to crater. The Celtics were up and down that year, and it just felt like somewhere along the stretch it should have happened.
Well, if that's your logic, is Tracy McGrady a candidate for your list?
Thought about him.
If
just the teammates were the supporting cast were so awful. I'm actually in the camp of I would actually defend Tracy versus put him on a list like this. I thought he just played with nobody for years and years and years.
Yeah, I love this game. One of the nerd candidates I'll throw at you is Larry Sanders.
That's a great one.
When we were starting to do some of the first player tracking studies in the NBA, this guy started to pop on all these rim protection metrics that we'd never had access to before. Yeah. And I wrote a paper for Sloan. I was like, this guy's going to be the best rim protector in the league for the next 5 or 10 years. And he was out of the league by 26 or something. And but he was, I was like, this guy, I'm going to put my flag in here, and this guy's going to be, the face of the defensive analytics revolution. He never showed up.
I'm still personally disappointed in Keith Van Horn, but technically he also belonged to the 90s. But I don't know why he wasn't 20 and 8 for 12 years. House is done with this segment. Can I give you my top 10 point guards really quick?
Go ahead.
Talked about this with Zach. We talked about it through the context of the point guard Chris Paul retiring. And I mentioned my top 5, which is Magic and Curry and Oscar Robertson and Bob Cousy and Isaiah Thomas as my top 5. House, do you have notes?
No, that's it. That's the list for me as well.
Goldsberry, you have notes?
I can't go against the sports guy on Kuzi, but that's the one I know. I heard you and Zach talking about it. The generational stuff. Everybody's going to read that differently. I'll take it. I'll take it as listed.
Next 5. At Chris Paul, John Stockton, just a hair behind him. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, just a hair behind him. And then Walt Frazier, if he counts as a point guard, which I think he does. And I think that's the top 10. We mentioned at Gary Payton, a level after that. Then it moves into Gary Payton's probably the toughest cut. Iverson was not a point guard, so he can't be included. But House, how do you feel about that second 5?
No issue. I mean, we're doing the all-time greats, and we have a good, a pretty unimpeachable top 10.
Frazier's the one that got lost to history a little bit. He has the Game 7 in '69 as one of the great individual games in the history of the league and wins them a title. He wins 2 titles. He is probably the best defensive guard of his entire generation. Was a famous big game guy and had good stats. And his career went about as long as it should have gone in that era where they're flying coach and they're playing on Converses. So yeah, Gary Payton is the toughest one for me because I think Payton's peak was probably better than Stockton. There was at least one playoff series where he just murdered John Stockton, right? And it was a really bad matchup and the whole thing. But is there anybody, who do you think's the most underrated point guard of all time for you,
Tony
Goldsberry?
Parker. The guy who won 4 NBA championships, the finals MVP, led the league in paint scoring as a 6'2" point guard. And, you could say he's a system player or what, but man, he was the best player on that team for a lot of big games. And, I'm biased to the silver and black, but Tony's getting lost for the same reason Tim gets lost. He doesn't talk about himself. He doesn't make a lot of appearances.
He's not on TV.
Not
Going
on
TV always helps.
But that's the name where I wouldn't be doing a service to my friends in San Antonio if I didn't bring him up.
So the guy we didn't mention was SGA. And I don't think SGA is a point guard, but I also don't know what a point guard is anymore. Because technically he fulfills the position of point guard, but he's not a point guard. He's not like these guys House and I grew up with, like Mo Cheeks and Tiny Archibald. Right. He's just a different type of player. It's almost like this new version of a guard, right? So he's like on this different list with like Harden and Russell Westbrook and
Luka.
people like that. Yeah, Luka. These high usage rate guards that they fit the role. And that the bigger question for me is Curry on that list? And Zach and I talked about that yesterday. But House, do you think Curry's an actual point guard? In your head, what is he? Is he a guard or is he a point guard?
He's more of a guard than a point guard, but it's impossible to try and split, to do definitionally what we're trying to accomplish. So just putting him in the top 5, we're saying, okay, he's with Magic and he's with, that's the right place for him.
What do you think, Kirk?
Yeah, I have him as a point guard. I think if you look
Parker's
at his,
like this too. Parker wasn't like a total point guard, but he was.
And to piggyback on your point, like we have to move the goalposts because the style of the game is changing. And when Mark Jackson was the coach in Golden State, they ran a lot of traditional pick and roll, and he sure as hell looked like a point guard back then. Then Steve got there, and now they're running through Bogut and Draymond and David Lee and it's dribble handoffs, and he's running circles, and that really defined his career. But I think of him as a point guard. But yeah, the same thing I would say to Shea is just like, this is, if we want to continue to compare point guards, we have to say that the definition is growing to include these type of guys. Because who's not walking through that door is Mo Cheeks. Mo Cheeks isn't walking through that door ever again. We're never going to see like the 6'1" guy who dribbles it up, initiates an action, dumps it down to Moses Malone, and there we go.
House and I love those guys when
I
we
love
played
those
basketball.
guys.
We had a couple guys
Chris
at Holy
Paul.
Cross. Well, we had playing pickup. You always wanted the Mo Cheeks type guys.
Oh, for sure.
Those guys just were looking out for everybody else. Just wanted to let everybody else eat. What can I do, guys? Can I make you a plate? Can I cut your chicken for you? Here. I wonder as this argument evolves down the road, if we throw away like point guard, shooting guard, all this shit, and we just go guards, wings, and bigs, and that's where we end up. Because Jokic is a center, but he's also a guy. I don't even know what the fuck he is anymore. I guess he's just a big. But just the five positions that we grew up with are basically gone, right? And Luka's
the game's different. It's fine.
Luka's a guard. Harden's a guard. Kawhi's a wing. I just think that probably needs a way to think about it. But is it how high can I put SGA in the pyramid at this point? What's a number that you'd be happy with? Because he's clearly on it now. Is he level 2 for you yet?
Yeah. Yes.
So that puts him. It's in like the McAdoo, Archibald, Joel Embiid, Bernard King,
for sure,
Heinsohn, Arizin, Wilkins, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis area.
As you say all those names, I grow more and more confident that it's absolutely appropriate to say he's there.
Does he nudge toward like the low 50s, Gary Payton, Paul Pierce area already, or does he need a couple more years? Because almost when you're doing this, it's like his career ends tomorrow. Does he have enough to? So you need 2 more years. Okay.
Well, let's just let the season play out. If they defend the title, if they win 70 games and they defend the title, then
now he's in the 40s.
Yeah.
If they win 2 straight titles, he wins the MVP last year, maybe even this year. Now you're in the different tax bracket for this, I think. All right, Kirk, anything else? Any other questions for us before you go?
I would just like to wish you and your family and your listeners and the House family a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the football, some basketball in between football. And thanks for having me on, Bill.
Kirk, what's your favorite side?
I'm a mashed potatoes guy. A lot of garlic, a lot of gravy. And I don't get a lot of mashed potatoes. So once a year, I really go into it.
House, you're going to have to be careful this year because the football games are really good. I don't know what you're doing for an eating strategy, but you almost have to like kind of wait for that little stretch between the second and third game. The first 2 are amazing.
I'm going to eat all day. I'm just going to eat all day. There's no real it'll be a plate an hour.
All right.
Over 12
we're saying
hours.
Goodbye to Goldsberry's House, staying on, and we're going to do some football.
Later, guys.
Thanks, Kirk. This episode is brought to you by Apple Watch. Real talk for a second. You think you're crushing it with sleep? You're getting 8 hours, you're doing everything right, feeling great about it. Well, using the Apple Watch is kind of like checking game film. It breaks it all down for you. Sleep duration, bedtime consistency, interruptions, gives you a play-by-play of exactly what happened while you slept. No questions asked. My wife has been on this from the get-go. She's studying, it's like the all-22 in NFL. You tweak a few things, cut back on late caffeine, maybe actually go to bed when you say you will, boom, you might actually start waking up feeling rested. Apple Watch helps you figure out your sleep so you're not flying blind anymore. And you can find out more at apple.com/Apple Watch Series 11. iPhone 11 or later required. All right, House, we're doing Ringer 107 picks on a Tuesday afternoon, Thanksgiving. This is way too early. So much can change. But what are we going to do? We got to do it. We're going to try to concentrate on the Thursday and Black Friday games just because they're closer and we actually know who's playing, and then maybe do some other stuff. We had another disappointing week last week. 2-3. We're 2 games under 500. I just can't get it going this year, House. And I don't know what it is.
We're not making excuses, but you and I spoke, and I told you that by the time Sunday morning arrived, I was in a different place on at least 2 of our picks. And we had a difference of opinion.
The Saints was a classic. We had, like the Saints on Thursday.
That's right.
By Sunday, it was clear it was an all-time stay-away pick. Everybody had them. They're -1.5 with a pretty crappy 2-8 team, with everybody mobilized behind them, and the game played out the way it played out. So we're going to concentrate on some of the games that are a little closer. Okay, staying away from Rams, Panthers. Stop me if you don't want to stay away from any of these. Rams, Panthers. Bucks, Cardinals. Don't even know who's starting QB for the Bucks. Yeah. Titans, Jags, Falcons, Jets. I'm never putting the Falcons in Ringer 107 again. I hope they burn in hell. Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos, Washington. Is that a possible parlay for you, or is it a stay away? Who's playing QB for you?
Almost certainly Marcus Mariota.
That.
Well, they yesterday they are characterizing it as extremely unlikely for Jaden. I just want to go on the record. I think if he plays any more football this season, I think it's an outrage. I think it's a goddamn debacle. There is I think it's a misunderstanding fundamentally of what an asset he is and what the risk paradigm. The man's been hurt 3 different times with 3 different body parts this season and a different body part with a different injury last season. There is no rationale other than what? Butts and seats at the stupid stadium out in Prince George's County. He doesn't need reps. He's not getting useful reps with this poverty team with everybody hurt. No Terry McLaurin, the no Noah Brown. Eckler's been hurt, since the beginning of the season. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I soundly and loudly reject the idea that additional reps are helpful to him. I hope not to see him until the beginning of the 2026 season.
Should I just cut and paste that same monologue when the Celtics start thinking about bringing Jason Tatum back in March when they're 38 and 39? Vikings Seahawks, can we stay away?
So it's probably
that line's
Brosmer.
Double digits now, 10.5.
It's probably Brosmer, right?
Yeah, I don't. What if he's like, okay, I don't.
I know. I don't. I'm in the same boat as you. I was really. I already bet it. I bet Seattle -9.5 before the news about this. I'm going to be really. I'm not going to make any jokes about the concussion thing because he did get
Were you
sacked.
gonna joke that he might not have one?
Well, it was he had the symptoms on the flight.
Yeah.
On the flight home.
Yeah.
So I'll just.
And he took some hits in that game.
He took hits. Let there be no doubt.
Dolphins, Saints, Dolphins 5.5.
Cannot.
Staying away completely.
Cannot. Yeah.
Do you like Coward was saying he thought Purdy was the right-handed Tua. It's really first Coward take I've been jealous of in a while.
It's very good.
Coward, keeping me on my toes. I haven't been jealous of a Coward take in 4 years.
The only difference is so far, Purdy doesn't really put himself in harm's way running wise.
Coward was bragging on his show that he had better seats than me at a WrestleMania.
It's possible. Why couldn't he?
There was one where I was with 6 people and I was in the 3rd row and he was in the 1st. He called the wrestling fans booger eaters for years and years. Go look it up.
So what?
How dare
that doesn't mean he can't sit in the front row.
Yeah, but that was once. I've been
of him
in the. I'm always ahead of him in rows.
You should be on the front row at every event. I don't understand. What are you doing?
For Coward, he can screw off. Go sit with the booger eaters in the 3rd row. See, I'm hoping this turns into a sports blog post because they can just put us both
great.
in the post with the thing.
Great.
But meanwhile, I like Coward. But don't tell anybody. Just get your post.
Simmons says.
Get your aggregation out. Likelies. These are not Thursday, Friday games. Browns +6.5 at home against the Niners.
We have to play it.
Home Browns is one of our favorite bets. They're just a different team. Home Browns.
I mean,
the Hash Browns.
Shador wasn't incredible, but he was fine.
He was fine.
Them at home against that.
Maybe less than fine, but he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. This San Francisco defense, what they put on display against Carolina, it was that San Francisco handling their business against the Panthers was 1,000% about how inept the Panthers are. That was the Panthers insisted on defeating themselves again and again and again.
I did a 7-point tease with 5 teams, including the Panthers, up to +14, and sweated out, and they won.
Oh,
and
right.
Yeah. Bryce Young was just. What goes on in that dude's head? Would you rather have JJ McCarthy as your quarterback and know that it's not happening, or Bryce Young tantalizing with the possibility that it might happen, but then over and over again proving that it's not going to happen? I don't know which one's worse.
Definitely JJ McCarthy. He can't play.
That's worse. Okay.
Yeah, he's worse.
So Browns they're 6.5. This is like 3 free points.
Play it.
How is this line not 3.5?
I don't know. Play them. We love the Browns. Browns at home. Myles Garrett might get 4 sacks.
Another possible is Texans Colts. Texans are getting 4.5 in Indianapolis. This is a bet on the Texans defense. I don't know if it's Mills or Stroud. I don't really care. Not sure how good the Colts are as the season goes along. The fact that Sal and I talked about it on Sunday, really, they seem really scared to let Daniel Jones decide the game.
Here's the thing that scares me a little bit about the Houston situation. The Colts have been away from home for a month, and all of these games where they haven't looked great have been outdoor. That game against Pittsburgh, that's an outdoor, not going to let them get out and run thing. Then they went to Berlin, outdoor stadium. They put up a bunch of yards
last week in Kansas City.
2 consecutive overtime games also for the Colts now. But finally they're home. They're finally home. They're back to their home track, and that secondary, the health, they were good. That secondary against the Chiefs was very good. They were not that was
so
not the
you're
reason.
Saying all stuff I had in my head that should I be more scared of them at home with Houston, who can't really block, with the secondary taking a rise up, and most people probably liking the Texans because of the line and because of the way they've been playing. Counter Texans, 10 days rest, must win for them. I like literally a must win. I don't know if they make the playoffs if they don't win this game. Well, I'll mark it down. I
mean, to be fair, the Colts did have a bye in between. It wasn't like they flew from internationally back to the U.S. and immediately played the Chiefs.
I'll mark it down because I thought that was a really bad loss for the Colts. Like Sal and I were talking about, just to go 3 and out the last 4 times you had the ball. And it just didn't seem like they trusted Jones. And I think sometimes with your teams and like, those are the moments where it's like, do you trust this guy or not? It didn't seem like they trusted him.
It's fine to not trust him. You got to get JT the ball. Like,
well, that's it.
We watched we saw the recipe with the dumb Lions. The Lions at least understand that Jahmyr Gibbs is their secret sauce. And they're like, we're probably going to lose this game to the Giants, but we're going to get you 300 yards from 300 scrimmage yards. Because if we're going to lose, it's going to go down this way. It has to be the exact same with Jonathan Taylor. Go ahead and be cautious, but get that man touches every which way you can.
So what? Maybe staying away from that one.
I just don't love it.
Giants, Pats. Giants are getting 7.5 in New England. It's a Monday night game. We went against the Patriots because I try to be like, I'm not trying to be a homer. We wanted the 5 best picks. We went against the Pats once and we lost.
It was a tough situation. They went to Tampa and they handled their business. It was impressive. That was the one we went against them. 7.5. Is that the number? It's too many points. Is Jameis playing? Is James definitely playing?
I think Jameis is playing.
If Jameis plays, then it's too many points.
You know who's not playing? The entire left side of the Patriots offensive line. You know who wasn't good? Even 2 weeks ago, the Patriots offensive line. You know who was the best part of their offensive line? The 2 guys on the left side, the rookies, who we're not going to have.
The way to get at the Giants, again, we just saw it with the Lions. You got to establish the run. You have to get outside and run on them. Can the Patriots do that? Have we seen that at all this season?
There's two issues with this line being this high. One is that I'm worried they're not going to be able to block the Giants at all. 2, even if they have the lead, they're not going to be able to run the ball to keep the lead, which is what we saw in the Bengals game. They should have put that Bengals game away. They couldn't run the ball. So this line's just too high. The counter would be you have Jameis. God only knows what that dude. You're betting on him on a Monday night. There could be 2 pick sixes.
It could be 4 and 4, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, 2 of which are pick sixes. That's what makes him so beautiful.
The Pats the schedule has been amazing. They barely beat Cincinnati. Thursday night against the Jets, which they won by 13. That game was closer than it felt like. And the Jets left some plays on the table. And really, if they were competent at all offensively, that would have been closer. Tampa, 28-23 final. But Tampa played really well that game. And I just thought that was a good game. Atlanta, they win by 1. The last time they've really beaten up a team was Cleveland in week 8. They won 32-13. They beat Tennessee the week before, but they're not really like whooping teams because they can't run the ball to protect leads. So this line's too high.
Giants have been pretty good on the road. Like they were live.
They've blown 5 double-digit leads on the road.
Yeah, they were live to beat many very good teams. Live to beat all of them.
Yeah. So the other thing with this Pats game, they have a bye week after this week. They're banged up and they got Buffalo the week after. And this just feels like a classic. Can we just sneak through this game? Let's try not to have any more injuries. And anyway, I'm marking it down. Bills Steelers is the last one. Bills at Pittsburgh. Bills are -3.5. Bills 10 days rest. Steelers missing their left tackle. They're missing Harmon on defense. I didn't think last week was a great game for them. Rodgers is apparently coming back, even though he's going to have a splint on his wrist. And I don't like the hook, especially in Pittsburgh. But I do want to put the Bills in the tees or a parlay. I would like to discuss that.
As a money line leg?
We could do, I think we both like the Eagles -7 against the Bears. And we could just do Eagles money line, Bills +1.5 and make that one of our picks.
So
Bills +1.5 in Pittsburgh.
The case you have to make for Pittsburgh is 18 years of Tomlin. Tomlin in these situations, they can't lose any more games. They're gonna be out of the playoff picture if they lose any more games. And their ability to generate turnovers, especially at home, especially in this dog position, when you sit down and go through the numbers, the trends, Tomlin in this spot at this point in the season, especially 3.5, you have to play. So the right thing to do is what you're guiding us towards, which is don't play 3.5.
Get away from the hook.
Do something else. But do you really feel like we can trust the Bills? That's my question to you.
So I thought about this. The Bills are 7-4. 11-6, but you're almost in danger. You might not even make the playoffs with how many 11 and 12 win teams are going to have. They can't really afford any of their losses. Did we overreact to that Houston game? I mentioned this to Sal on Sunday. They're playing on 3 days rest. They're playing in Houston against the best defense in the league, and they almost won, by the way. Had the ball on the 10-yard line, first down, and they couldn't punch it in, but they were in the game. It wasn't Allen got sacked a bunch of times, but that was the best defense. They did only have 2 days to prepare for it, basically. And I don't know. It just feels like we're actually getting the Bills on a nice, kind of on a nice zag situation where people are a little too down on them.
Yeah, the market's not, though. It's 3.5. The market's kind of telling us.
We both agree. Everybody's going to be like, oh, Pittsburgh 3.5, Tomlin at home. You got to take the points. That's what I'm thinking.
The only thing that makes me uneasy is it does seem like Pittsburgh is pretty comfortable with their run game now. And it is kind of a two-headed monster, like both Jaylen Warren and Gainwell as a revelation. And they're getting catches out of the backfield. They've really done something nice with their two-headed running back core. And the thing that has beat this Bills defense all season long is the running game.
All right.
I just want to make sure we're being cautious. That's
You're
all.
advocating a stay away. We still have to come up with 5 picks. All right. Thursday, Lions, Packers. It sounded like you like the Packers a little bit, but I'm going to force us to take the Lions.
Well, you can do that. I am vehemently opposed to it. So it's
okay. Can you make the case? Let's hear it.
I think the version of the Green Bay Packers that we saw in the very first game of the season against this Lions team is still present, and that they can do the exact same thing to this Lions team. The skepticism around the Lions coming into the season was they had 2 of their Hall of Fame-ish, interior offensive linemen. One retired and one plays for another team now. And the changeover at offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, all of that has proven to be, factor in making this Lions team look pretty underwhelming against every team with any kind of talent. And I think that this Green Bay defense is is being underrated. I think that to me, they're a top 3 defense in the NFL, the Green Bay defense. And I think they have no problem whatsoever going into Detroit and bullying the Lions. They won in 2023. They had the ball last possession last year and lost right at the end. They're not like afraid of going in. And this Lions defense was on the football field for 80 snaps. That game went to overtime against the Giants. Here's the if you want to get into the trend thing, teams that play on Thursday after playing in an overtime game, 6-25 against the spread since 2000. 6-25, and it's at noon, so it's not even like they're playing nighttime. The Lions. So I'm on Green Bay. I've already bet it. I bet the money line. I think they're the better team. I think they're going to win the NFC North.
That was a pretty compelling case, House.
Thank
I don't
you.
know what it
Thank
is
you.
about Thanksgiving.
Well,
Trying
we
to come
got
up with a
something
good
forward
counter
to.
other than I have no idea where the Packers are going when it's 3rd and 7.
Here, the counter is the Packers are also like one Jordan Love falling down the wrong way because of he was handing off with his opposite hand because whatever that injury is, if he falls down the wrong way one time.
I noticed that.
Yeah. And we're still waiting for that offense to really wow us. Now, Emmanuel Wilson, who you picked up, you son of a gun.
Ringer in my Ringer Fantasy League. Part of my dramatic comeback.
Yeah. Jacobs,
Thank you for noticing.
plays. Well, I'm looking. I think we're going to play each other. If the playoffs started this week, we would play each other. So I'm trying to look at who I'm likely to end up playing against. But Jacobs, I expect the reason that he didn't play on Sunday is so that he could play this game. But what if that's a 2-headed kind of monster for them? Because you got to play Wilson, so you got to play both, I think, and that should help Jordan Love. But that would be the counter, I think.
So are you advocating Philly money line with Packers plus 6.5?
Oh, I mean, that would be fine, of course. Because the Philly money line is fine with anything you want to pair it with, from my perspective.
What if we had Eagles? The Eagles minus 1.5, and we got that Lions to plus 7.5.
Fine, great, done.
That sounds pretty exciting.
Awesome.
So you're saying even if the Lions win, which you're skeptical of, it's not a game where they're going to be blowing the Packers out, anything like that. You're expecting a tight game, or you're expecting the Lions to kick their ass.
Yeah. I think that the Green Bay has the right personnel to handle the Detroit's weapon is Jahmyr Gibbs, because Goff has really not been that impressive. We keep waiting. That was a classic Detroit get right, put up 50-point spot against the Giants, and they should have lost the football game. So, and It's because they just can't, they don't win at the line of scrimmage the way they used to.
Oh, man. So on FanDuel, Packers plus 6.5 is minus 235, but plus 7.5 is minus 330.
They're not giving us over the top.
So it would have to be Eagles money line with Packers plus 6.5.
Fine. I mean, the Packers are going to win outright. I've bet on it. I'll accept my fate if they don't. If Jordan Love gets hurt.
Well, your fate last week was you gave us the Saints minus 1.5, which I didn't want to do, and that fucking lost. Your fate's been pretty fateful.
Well, so many lessons learned.
What are the lessons?
I mean,
don't bet on Taylor Shuck. Taylor Shuck. What's his name?
I thought I was watching Tennessee from last year, watching that game, because I was
2 field goals. They had fucked up 2 first and goals.
Invested in, like they were bad in every phase. They had poor planning. It was a poor scheme. It was poor execution, offense, defense, and special teams. It was really, like I said, I thought we were watching the Titans from last year. It was a Callahan special.
Cowboys, Chiefs. Cowboys are getting 3 at home. Chiefs, speaking of your overtime stat, they also played overtime on Sunday. And it's funny because I used the logic for liking the Cowboys in this game as part of my calculus and didn't use that for the Lions Packers until you reminded me that the Lions also played in overtime. This went from 3.5 to 3. There's some wiggle room here with the tees too, with the Cowboys. That's
Much
another one
rather-
we could throw in a 7.5. I would much rather just take the +3.
Not me. I'd rather have the points. I'd
Right.
rather have the points.
What do you mean? Cowboys
I'd rather have the
+3.
extra points over 7.5. I want I need a back door. 3 doesn't give us a back door with Dallas.
Well, one more game. Bengals Ravens. Bengals +7. No T Higgins. Chase is playing. Burrow's playing. I got to watch this team against the Patriots last week. They're not very good. It's one of the reasons, like the Pats Giants line, like the Bengals, we made the Bengals defense look like it was pretty confident. I'm not sure it is, but I don't like the Ravens either. The Bengals have the worst defensive DVOA since 1978, according to Aaron Schatz. The Ravens, I don't know what the advanced metric is for eye test. This looks like something's wrong, but something looks wrong, especially with Lamar. I almost want to stay away from this game.
Good. Please do. Because the correct side is definitely Cincinnati. At that number, like what,
I don't want to take Cincinnati.
What evidence is there that of Baltimore winning by margin against a team with a good quarterback? Like I don't want to go against Burrow. I mean, obviously there will be a rust factor, there'll be all the stuff, but I mean these two teams, this divisional game, that's a lot of points for a divisional game with all the uncertainty around a Burrow return.
Well, we only have 4 picks, House. Here's the problem.
What are they? What are the 4?
Packers +2.5. Eagles -2.5. Parlayed with Cowboys 7+ +7.5. That's like -113. Browns 6.5 over the Niners. Giants +7.5 over the Patriots. Then we need one more game. So it's either the Texans +4.5 or we just blindly take the Steelers Tomlin infrastructure +3.5.
I don't
or
want
we
to
take the Bengals
Steelers.
+7 just because it's Thursday and we get to root for it.
Let's do that. That's more fun. We're at the stage of the season, week 13. It's Thanksgiving. I'll be sprawled on the couch. T-shirt halfway up my
By the way, this is
belly.
the Thursday night game.
I know, that's what I mean. I'll be on the couch, protruding belly, T-shirt 3/4 of the way, barely covering. It ain't gonna cover my belly.
I don't think the Ravens are good.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, Ringer 107. Lines, as always, presented by FanDuel. House wanted us to take Packers +2.5 against the Lions, so we're doing that. You're basically vowing the Packers are going to win this game. This is confidence I've seen you all year.
True story. I believe it.
We were talking, we did the 2 for the money rewatchables, and we were talking about that Sports Advisors era when they dramatically said, this is the lock of Thanksgiving, and whether we should incorporate that in our own Ringer 107. The only time we did that all year was that one Browns game. The bad weather game with Tua going to Cleveland, where we were like, this is our lock of the year. The Browns against Tua in that one. I don't know if we should start doing that more. And we won. So we're 1-0 and we go lock of the year. So Packers +2.5. Is this House's lock of the holidays?
It's the Thanksgiving lock. It's the turkey leg lock of Thanksgiving.
My Thanksgiving lock brings in Black Friday, and it is Eagles -2.5 with the Cowboys parlayed to +7.5. Eagles have to win by 3. Cowboys are getting 7.5 points. We're parlaying those together. We're going to take the Bengals +7 against the Ravens because it's too many points. Burrow's back. Jamar Chase is back. Trying to prove to everybody he's learned some lessons. A Bengals defense, either the Pats offense isn't good or the defense actually looked pretty frisky. They had some goal line stops and they were at least playing hard. So there's 3. Browns +6.5 at home against the Niners. House and I just feel like the Browns are like, home Browns are like they're like the 33rd NFL team. And then last but not least, we're staying away from Bills Steelers because of the hook. We're staying away from Texans +4.5 at Indianapolis because we're not sure Indianapolis at home. Might have forgotten how special that team is. And we're going to take Giants +7.5 in New England because the line's too high. Because the Patriots don't have an offensive line anymore. They can't run the ball. And even if they take a lead, it's going to be hard for them to extend and move it out. And there's a whole Giants-Pats history. And I think it's the right move.
And the back door is open if Jameis is the quarterback.
That's true. I
The
hope
back
the
door is
Patriots win
open.
by 40 points, but that's going to be our Ringer 107. The last pick, Giants plus 7.5. All lines subject to change. Presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. All right, give us your 2025 Thanksgiving rankings before we go.
Thanksgiving
Number one
rankings.
thing you're most excited to eat. What is it?
Dark meat. I love to get underneath. It's not just you could take the leg and the leg is fine, but where it connects that thigh meat, the juicy thigh meat, because it's been sitting in the pan and roasting for hours, and all of the moisture of the turkey is right down to that portion of it. That's the bird butter. That's what I want. I would put my face in it if I had the opportunity, but this is, I understand everybody that's like, oh, turkey. Yeah, I have to do turkey. You're missing. It's a rare thing. We don't have it all the time. So try and find the portion of it that is just it is flavorful. It's packed full of flavor right where I'm describing.
Turkey is the quarterback of Thanksgiving that you try to look for other things that are the most important player in the team. And it's like, no, it's actually the turkey.
It is the turkey.
Everything revolves around the turkey. We don't eat it that often because it immediately puts you in a coma. There's a scene in Beast and Me when the bad guy, Matthew Reese, his character, he's just eating rotisserie chicken.
Oh,
I don't know. Have you seen that show yet?
I don't know it. No.
He just starts eating this chicken and he's just like eating it like an animal. And the only other person I've ever seen do that is you. All right. What's your number 2 Thanksgiving thing you're excited to eat?
Stuffing, but it's got to be sausage stuffing because I love the combination, and it's got to be a moist stuffing. I understand when folks go for that crispy baked top, but it can have the effect of undermining the moisture, sucking the moisture out. So as long as you can preserve the moisture, but I like big chunks of sausage in there. I like the pow, and I like a nice bite of fennel in with the that stuffing. And if you want to throw a couple red pepper flakes, if you want to elevate, the spice level, I'm here for it, because when you put that next to the dark turkey, it's almost takes you in the direction that dark turkey with the juices. It's a little bit gamey also, potentially. And then you get that sausage and the pop of that sausage, the way that eat and the moisture of the bread along with it. Those are bites. Those are world-class, once a year, revel in it bites.
Big chunks of sausage was in the text between Olivia Nuzzi and RFK Jr., but I can't remember who texted it. All right. My favorite, I'll let you go again for your third pick. My favorite is stuffing of everything. And for all the reasons you laid out, I don't like when it's too dry. I like when it's a little moist. I like putting gravy on it. I like taking the turkey. I don't eat the stuffing by itself. I always have the stuffing bite with the turkey with some cranberry. And as I say every year, and people think I'm a serial killer, I still like the canned cranberry over like the fancier homemade. Give me the old school, buy it at any grocery store. I still like that cranberry jelly, round, whatever however you describe it. I still like that the most.
We've come all the way around. People now, what I see is folks, even high-end chefs advocating, go ahead and if you want to make your fufu, do it, but also make sure you serve a canned version next to it, because it's nostalgia. And
it's the best bite.
It is tasty. It's still tasty.
Carve it out. It also has a little better consistency. So you put it on the stuffing.
Yeah.
Scoop it in with the turkey and a little gravy. And it's like, that's the best bite I'm going to have.
A great one.
Number 2 is my mom's, the sweet potato casserole thingy she makes with she puts it's basically a diabetes special. It's like, there's pecans on it. It's brown sugar. It's cooked. There's marshmallows in it. It's like you just go into a coma basically after you have it.
Is it dessert or is it served as a side?
No, it's a side.
Yeah. So
the funny thing is we have mashed potatoes too. We do double. We have the mashed potatoes with the sweet potatoes.
Yeah, mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes, a fairly traditional, double dose. I think that.
What's your number 3?
I don't want to be told that this is a cop-out. It's gravy, because gravy plays such a crucial role to elevating every aspect of what's on the plate. If you've got mashed potatoes on the plate, then you got to have the gravy. If you've got the juicy turkey that I'm talking about, but the gravy just it elevates it. It's a glue guy. The gravy plays that glue guy role, and it elevates everything. And any vegetable you're gonna have on the plate, got to have it. Have the gravy available to dip. If there's green bean. I mean, I don't do the green bean casserole with the mushroom soup. I like kind of a roasted vegetable vibe.
My mom's making that, the green bean casserole.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, because she asked if we wanted traditional green beans or green bean casserole.
You could have both.
What you find is that anything with casserole in it, I'm probably going to eat on Thanksgiving.
Yes, for sure.
My wife's trying some cream spinach thing that I didn't even really fully understand. That's
like from a steakhouse, that vibe?
I didn't really understand it. It just sounds like more calories, but apparently that's happening as well.
Okay.
Italians.
Yeah.
This is my beloved Aunt Jen, now deceased, but it was multi-courses. Like, to start with this is for Easter too, where there's a lasagna.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And then a ham. Tradition. And then Thanksgiving. Which,
that makes sense.
But that's like, I don't know. That's fucking crazy. I look back, I'm like, how do you have a ham and a turkey? That's absolutely bonkers.
I don't think it is. So like my household tradition, the thing, and I've put pictures of it up. My mother, for 50 years, makes an antipasto with rolled Italian meats, cheeses, olives.
We had that sometimes too.
Yeah, the vegetables in the brine, like that whole spread, maybe with a little bit of tuna in the middle, flake tuna.
Any other? What's your favorite? What's your fourth after gravy? Any other ones?
Nah, I mean, we covered. Okay. We covered the most important.
How about
parts.
Favorite pie?
Definitely 1,000% sweet potato. I love sweet potato pie. I mean, it's you're still in the same basic kind of orientation with pumpkin. And why would I say anything bad about pumpkin pie? But sweet potato pie is superior.
One of the biggest tragedies I've had since I moved to LA, it's not in the top 3, but it's in the top 10, was when my wife's friend Robin, who made the porch pies.
Oh, yeah.
And she moved back to the South, and we don't have porch pies for Thanksgiving anymore.
Man.
And she would make the chocolate chess and the
chocolate
pumpkin
chess was outrageous.
and the sweet potato.
Yep.
And it was the fucking best. And now it's just gone. And I haven't had a pie since that's like it. It was always the number one. I don't know why she just didn't stay here and open a porch pie shop.
Well, you could call her up and ask her to send you
Maybe
one.
I should make her move back.
That's
an extra 10 pounds for me, though.
You can just ask her to make one and put it in a FedEx.
It was so good. What's your least favorite Thanksgiving dish or dessert? Do you have one that you're just out on?
I don't tend to eat the rolls. I don't mess with the bread because
That's a great point. Why is there bread on Thanksgiving?
I'm looking forward to every other aspect of it.
Bread and the stuffing.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And I want like my calorie allocation. I want it to the stuff that's like the once a year stuff. It's like your green bean casserole, your mom's sweet potato. Like, let me have. It's only once a year that you're going to have that. Why am I having a Parker House roll? Or those rolls are good. They they sop up the gravy and stuff. But I'd rather have the gravy on the other things.
I'm always out on rolls. To me, rolls are the run into the middle of the line on the first down. Like, what's the point? we're still gonna have to throw it to get a first down. Why do we do that?
Negative EPA. Rolls.
Yeah, I might get an offensive lineman hurt. A million things that could go wrong. What's your eating schedule on? So you're just eating constantly?
Yes, I'll wake up. I'll start eating savory. I'll have coffee in the morning. Whenever the first game comes on at noon, and I'll have. I'm traveling this year. I'm not going to be with my mom, so I won't. My mom's antipasto is like 12:30. It's halfway through the second quarter of the first game. That's the house tradition. But I will figure out, a way to get a version of it, and I'll start having plates starting at halfway through the second quarter because I'm.
And how many hours since your last meal before Thanksgiving? Do you try to go like 15, 16 hours?
No, it doesn't matter. At this stage, we're professionals. I don't need to like starve myself in advance.
I like to do early dinner the night before, nice empty stomach.
Great.
Then move in right around that end of the first game, West Coast time.
Great.
But then the second meal around 7:30 range. I'm not an eat all day. I'm like a eat, Can't believe how much I ate. I want to throw up. Should I throw up? Where's the Tums?
I don't want you to do that.
I'll have a glass of red
don't
wine.
Eat so much that you have to, where you feel that way.
And then the second wave around 7,
Eat before you think you're full. Before your brain tells you you're full, stop eating. That's how you can eat once an hour.
I'm getting that advice from you. You've overate more than anybody I've ever met in my life.
I can eat all throughout the day. Remember,
I saw you pass out in a phone booth that didn't have a phone once because you ate too much.
What's the thing that defines me, though? Everybody else has stopped eating.
True.
And I continue to eat.
A long distance runner.
There you go.
Yeah. You're like the rabbits in the marathon, they come and go, and you're just still chugging away, putting the 8-minute miles together. I can't wait. I can't believe we have 3 interesting football games in a row.
It's going to be outrageous.
This hasn't happened since we were like in college.
How about 4? We
Black
blithely,
Friday.
all Bears fans are going to be super mad because I'll put my hand up. I've been down on the Bears all season, super skeptical. And we just said, Eagles in money line, Eagles. We gave no discussion whatsoever of the Bears.
Here's why we didn't give a discussion. Here are their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. They beat Geno Smith, Mariota, Rattler, Flacco, the Dart Wilson combo, JJ McCarthy, and Mason Rudolph. Congratulations.
I mean, it's literally what Washington did last year. That was Washington's run.
I don't think you're going to beat the Eagles after a loss on Black Friday at some weird time of the day
in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
But you might keep it close. That's why we did the money line. Anyway, Happy Thanksgiving. Best to you and yours. Great to see you, House. Thank you.
Amazing. Great job. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
All right, Chris Ryan is here. We're taping this on a Monday. We just did a rewatchables with Sal that by the time you hear this, went up, did 2 for the money. And then we thought, because we were sitting here, we'd talk about Landman, which I know you're excited about, but
very much.
I want to talk about Phillies sports, which you're not as excited about.
No, because I don't like it when you put me in the Philly cuck chair. I want you to bring me on when you want to celebrate Philadelphia. I don't always want to have to
Would
answer
you call
questions.
it the Philly cuck chair?
Yeah, I don't always want to come on and be like, Joel Embiid's knee is not doing great, or like.
But the Sixer stuff's going great.
The Sixer stuff is they're my heart. I love them so much. I have such an uncomplicated relationship.
We'll start there.
Okay.
Let's talk about this rejuvenated kind of Sixers future, even though you have 2 of the worst contracts in the league, but somehow everybody's good with it.
Yeah, and also like even the 2 guys who have the worst contracts seem to be enjoying themselves, which I would too if I was making that money and sitting on a bench for most of the time. But the young core of this team is so delightful and so awesome to watch.
Maxey moving up the ladder for most popular Phillies sports athletes in a while.
If I watch him without my glasses on and I see the black uniform, it looks Iversonian. Sometimes. Wow. Come on. It kind of does. Like he's so electrifying.
The minutes is crazy.
Terrifying.
With the way he plays.
Yes.
Where it's just like, this dude's going to do this 41 minutes a night. And the answer is yes, he actually is. He's been, I mean, he's a second team All-NBA guy, maybe even in the running for first team right now.
Yeah. And they have just like, they're obviously just scraping together a team from what they have in terms of like, it's Maxey and Edgecombe and Grimes. And then like whatever night they have, it's like Barlow or whoever they have to throw out there in the front court. But I don't know. It's just like they play fun games. It's the cardiac Sixers. A lot of tight games, a lot of clutch games. So
lately, the luck's been swinging a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a really good league pass. I mean, Edgecombe came a little bit down to earth, but not like so much that you're like, oh, that was a fluke. Like he's obviously going to be a really, really amazing player.
Any Knipple? Should we have taken Knipple at 3?
I don't have any Knipple. Should we have taken Knipple?
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to make sure.
Knipple's I think really you're in a little bit of a Knipple bubble.
Knipple's made the most threes of any rookie ever through 12 games or something.
Sounds great.
Knipple's doing great. No, I like Edgecombe. That's a good battle. I mean,
it's a great rookie class.
Ben and I bought a bunch of boxes from this class for cards because I love this class and I didn't even realize how deep it was going to be. But it's like has a chance to be one of the generational classes. The Edgecombe with Maxey, I think, pushes it over the top because they're these 2 guys that clearly complement each other in like the best possible ways. And you can see like this is like the foundation of we can now build a team around this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I know what this is now for the next 7 years, but you just have to wait out the Embiid piece.
Yeah, and Edgecombe really excites me because even when he's got games where he's not fully involved or it's not going right for him, he doesn't quit on the game. Like he'll still do lots of little things.
Yeah.
Grab an offensive rebound, do a hit ahead pass. Like he's just a really fun basketball player to watch.
Yeah, he can. There's some rookies that if they're not doing well from a scoring standpoint, they're pretty much useless in the game, but he's still around. Like he rebounds, he moves without the ball. The Maxey thing, I don't know what the sample size would have to be before we start talking about him in the territory with Brunson and Mitchell and Booker and people like that, but we're probably like 10 more games away from him just being in that group.
Especially if he keeps playing games where he's the best player on the court on both teams. You know what I mean? Like
and everyone says he's the best fucking guy. Like Doc was saying this forever.
So beloved in Philly.
Yeah.
Like is already probably, I'd say, top 2 or 3, if not the number 1 Philly athlete right now.
It's so weird. It's so weird how all this works out where you think it's going to be, it's the process with Embiid and Simmons and then Maxey's this post-lottery pick. Right, a bunch of teams pass on him,
and
that ends up being the
draft.
guy. Yeah, that ends up being the guy you're going to have for 15 years.
I actually just feel bad for Embiid because he can't participate in this, or like he can't participate in it consistently. Like, he was getting back, or not anywhere close to his old self, but numbers wise was doing pretty decently per minute. And PG had like a really nice game the other night. I think it was he was on a minutes limit against the Bucks, but had like a really good. Like
I saw some PG, by the way. He's not a disaster.
No, of course not.
He'll definitely help whatever's going on. And
it's just like, are those guys ever going to be healthy together?
Right.
With Maxey, Edgecombe, and Grimes?
Probably not.
Right.
I mean, so OKC has your pick, but the team's going to probably be good enough. There's 3 teams in the East that have already said we're done.
Yeah.
And Charlotte will be the 4th. I don't know what the Celtics keep winning every time I think they're about to go in a 7-game tailspin.
I thought we were talking about Philadelphia.
Well, but it seems like there's 11 East teams, right?
So you're trying to decide who's real. Yeah.
Even if Philly was like, you know what, we're actually going to tank so that we don't want to give OKC our pick. I think it's too late.
I don't think they can afford to tank with the fan base. I think they have to
Or with Max. If you have Maxey playing like this, you can't tank.
No.
You can't shut that down. I got to bring it up. Do we have to give Daryl some props here?
Yes.
Daryl was being fired for 2 years, but he picked Maxey, right? Or was Maxey already there? No, he picked
I think he picked Maxey, yes.
He picked Maxey.
He picked Edgecombe.
He picked Edgecombe.
And he finds good...
By the way, he tanked so that they would be in position to... They audibled quickly enough that it actually paid off, which I'm not sure everybody would have done. All the side stuff, like the Grimes trade was a great trade.
Yes. And then holding his powder dry to sign Grimes for the number that they got him back, not blinking when Grimes was I'm $25 million a year and getting freaked out by that and just kind of waiting that out was really good.
The mistake was not trading Embiid when he could have. I think there was a moment with the Knicks before they went all in on the Towns and this whole CAA team that they have now. I think especially because Embiid was their old client. Before they trade all those picks for Bridges, I think there was a monster Embiid trade to make.
I know that this is
he was a house of cards.
It's an antiquated, anachronistic idea or whatever, but trading your franchise player in division would have been a real death sentence for Daryl, I think.
Would you have been why are we doing this? Or would you have been oh, that's pretty smart?
No, I just would have been I can't believe I have to watch Joel Embiid go to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals on the Knicks after all the years that we kind of emotionally invested in it.
That makes sense. Well, they're in these contracts, whatever. You know what the heart of the team's going to be. You have one of the best 12 to 15 assets in the league in Maxey. So
also,
you wait out the Embiid
with or
George
without
thing.
Joel, if we make the playoffs, it's a really cool, you probably would rather not see them in the playoffs kind of team.
Yeah, especially if Embiid puts it together for 5 to 10.
If they wind up being the 8 seed, or the 7 seed, is Cleveland or Detroit going to be a little nervous to play them?
I kind of feel that way about the Celtics.
Oh.
Well, just if Tatum comes back in mid-February.
Right.
And they're able to get 20.
Have you decided on the number or the record that you would accept him coming back versus being just take a year off, bro?
They're hitting this danger zone with this season. They're even if they started tanking now, everybody's done so much work on the tanking ahead of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how they pass some of these teams. There's 3 teams in the East that you're not catching now.
Right.
Indiana is just going to come up with all kinds of reasons to lose games from now on. And then the other two are terrible.
Right.
I don't know. I unless there's some sort of injury, Memphis, I'll be interested to see what happens with them. Whether they throw the hat in the ring. But the Utah will at some point start going backwards. But then some of these other teams, like Phoenix was a team I thought was going to be in the bottom 8, and they're not probably there yet.
There's
Dallas, I still don't believe is going to be a tank team.
No. It's like Kings, Pelicans.
Pelicans are the one because they're going to play their young guys, but they don't have their pick.
That pick goes to Memphis, right?
That pick goes to Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah, so there's still some tanking stuff up in the air, but I thought the tailspin, the Celtics had this awful loss to Brooklyn on Friday, and I was like, here we go.
You went to that game, right?
No, my dad did, and he was like furious. He said it was one of the worst games he's been to this decade. And then Orlando doesn't play any of their guys, and they win on a Sunday. So I think it's a zigzag situation. But this draft, I think the more people watch the draft, they're going to go nuts. What's been your favorite old school CR kind of NBA story through 5 weeks, not counting the Bomber stuff? Like, are you like deep Damon Jones in it right now?
Old school CR like a kind of like a dirty story or kind of like a feel good story?
Dirty.
I think it's just watching what's happening in the Clippers. Yeah. Yeah. And just like and just how even if Harden scores 51, they're just in a dogfight every night. And not that I wish this on them, but it kind of almost feels like a throwback season of like these just really, there's a couple really gross, bad teams really early. Like the Kings thing is just like almost unwatchable on a night-to-night basis.
And then somehow they beat Denver.
Yeah, I know.
Right as it felt like it was an all-time slip away for them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot of teams can, other than Oklahoma and Detroit and a couple other places, they can't get any traction. Like even Jokic coming out and being like, we're not as good as we think we are.
Right.
And Gordon getting hurt, it kind of puts a pause on their season. The Golden State stuff is so strange. Butler already starting to kind of do cryptic quotes about people defending. It's a strange year so far.
And nobody seems to think they practice. So I'm looking at the standings. Brooklyn, Indiana, and Washington are all 3 wins and less. Charlotte's 4-13. So those are 4 tank teams. New Orleans is 2-15. I don't see that changing. Sacramento's 4-13. This is on Monday. Then it goes Dallas, Clippers, Utah, Memphis. Probably 2 of those fall. But yeah, the league's so deep now. These teams that you think, oh, they're probably going to suck.
Yeah.
But then you watch Phoenix, and they have like a bunch of NBA players in their team, like Grayson Allen, Mark Williams, Royce O'Neal.
Playing together.
And they're playing hard, and they seem like they give a shit about each other. I'm the most interested in this whole, wherever this gambling story goes.
Really?
Yeah.
So Billups just played.
Windhorst did a big Damon Jones feature today, which I read, obviously.
Yeah.
He's just crossed paths with a lot of teams and a lot of people. And, you know, depending on how much he knows, like that, I keep thinking about Goodfellas, like Henry Hill flips at the end, right?
So is Damon supposed to be Maury in this case?
I think he's Henry Hill.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, oh no, they got Damon. I just don't know where it goes. And the Chauncey thing is nuts. I feel like we haven't talked about this enough. This guy coached the first game of the year.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him since. He's being like arraigned. He's in all these games, but I feel like there actually hasn't been enough like reporting about this, maybe because we can't find what the actual facts are, but I think this is a bonkers story.
Yeah, is it my imagination or is the NBA's been pretty like poker faced about this? Like they're just like, we're investigating. Like there's not been we're in a crisis moment. Like we need to have like an independent investigation into this. Like, are they doing that? Like, I don't feel like we've seen a lot of like Adam Silver press conference, Adam Silver TV interviews about this stuff.
Because I think it's more contained to the poker games.
Right.
But if there's situations where people have information they're passing along, it's the thing that the league can't police. But, I think for the most part, pretty good NBA season so far. The games have been really good.
They have been.
Denver, Houston on Friday night was spectacular.
The injuries suck, but I think that they're pretty soberly. It's like, look, the sports just changed so much in the last couple of years that these guys.
Yeah, but they have to. I say this all the time. They have to cut games out of the schedule. We're at that point now. I think it's too hard to play basketball now. I've been to 4 games in 4 different arenas, and it's the thing that jumps out all the time, like how hard these guys are going.
And they're covering so much of the floor
compared to the NBA we grew up with. And I know Eddie Johnson doesn't want to hear it, but you can watch any of those games on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a certain type of body. You were able to jog around, take some plays off. There's a lot of standing around, a lot of posting up. It was more physical, but you were more in danger of like having your nose broken.
Sure.
You weren't in danger of like having all this Achilles calf stuff, Davis getting hurt, and then them now teams realizing like, hey, this could lead to this.
Yeah. So
this feels relatively new to me.
The amount of like probably preemptive, like, let's pull this guy out for a couple of weeks because he's in the red zone. It seems like they're taking it really seriously, especially after Halliburton and Tatum.
How about all the streaming stuff with Amazon, Peacock, ESPN, all these different, like just figuring out where games are on? I end up just going to the NBA app because that will send you to the game anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have enjoyed enough the League Pass experience on Amazon so far, but I think when it gets into the national games and when it's like, is this on Peacock? Is this on NBC? Is this on? It's kind of sad. Like, I don't think that we like necessarily deserve to have every single basketball game for free. I mean, that's not how we grew up. You would basically watch your team. Yeah. And I've tried more or less just like watching the Sixers as much as I possibly can. So I've probably watched, I don't know, like 10 Sixers games, 13 Sixers games. So I'm trying to keep it like more like as Sixers play people, that's how I see them. But it is really frustrating when you're home on like a Wednesday night and you're just like, oh my God, you need like all these different services just to get like a complete picture of the league.
Yeah, I got a mailbag question that I didn't use from somebody who said, is the NBA now being marketed to the 1%?
Right.
If you get the league pass, it's like $160, right? But I think you get all the games.
Yeah, there's some blackout rules, but yes.
Yeah. I would say the NFL is more guilty of that. The Sunday ticket is like 3 times the size of that, right? Even though they have some games on for free, but I just think this is the business of sports now.
Yeah.
Could they maybe all charge less and then make less money? Sure,
but they're not going to do that.
Guess what? They're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's the same reason we have 82 games and not 72. Who was I talking to the other day? Oh man, I would give this person credit about they never talk about making the NBA schedule longer, which is how you know it's too long.
Because if they could,
nobody's like, could we get this to 86? Yeah. People would be like, what are you guys doing?
The most they could do is the NBA Cup. What do you do? You think the Cup's are they gonna keep doing it, or do you think that they're gonna?
Oh yeah, Amazon bought in.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the answer is to get people to actually care, other than, well, the courts are weird,
right?
But like, do you care?
I don't know
Sixers got bounced out.
I don't think that the group stage stuff is working. I think that people in Champions League, you know, they've changed the group model significantly in the last couple of seasons, and it's helped a little bit. But I think that if the NBA probably wants to make this like a huge product, they might have to introduce elimination earlier. Which I don't know if the teams would go for.
What do you mean? Like if you lose the first game to whoever, you're just gone.
You're gone. You're done. Now you might have some teams basically taking the cup because they're like, cool, maybe we get some nights off here and there.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if you want to make this exciting, you should introduce the idea of it being tournament basketball. You shouldn't make it just like another game and they're tied 1-1 in Group D with points differential coming into play. Like that doesn't really like stir people up that much.
Yeah, it's year 3, and I still don't know why the players ultimately care other than the extra money.
Yeah.
And that's really it. But ultimately, you want to make the best players in the team care. I'm sure they care a little bit, but you don't. Everyone keeps sending me the draft pick idea, and I just don't think the players would ever care. Oh, if we win this,
could my GM get another draft pick to draft my replacement?
Right. Why would that ever be an incentive? Yeah. I did think of one thing, though. I'll test drive this with you.
Okay.
With the cup. The problem is I can't figure out how you would do the tiers, but if it's a team that wins the cup and it's one of the 10 best teams in the league, when they win the cup, they're automatically guaranteed a 4 seed in their conference.
Interesting.
So they know from that point on, we're at least home for round 1 because we won the cup.
Right.
But you have to be in the top 10. If you're not in the top 10, if you're from 11 to 20 at the time of the cup, you're guaranteed a playoff spot. You're guaranteed the 6th seed.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you're from the 21 to 30 range, you're guaranteed to be in the play-in in the 7
No matter
seed spot.
what happens.
Yeah, you're guaranteed the home game 7 seed spot. Even if you're like New Orleans and you're 2-15, you win. Now you get to be in the 7 speed. You can actually control your play and destiny.
Would that affect the New Orleans draft slot, though?
Wouldn't affect it.
It wouldn't, because the record would still be. So wouldn't
Record's
that
a record.
basically encourage New Orleans to essentially throw every game that they have left? Because then you get into the play-in, but you also get the number 1 pick or have the best odds of getting the
But
number
the
1
thing
pick.
is, the 21 to 30 teams would never win the cup.
Sure.
So it's usually going to be the best teams anyway. So if you're like, I don't know, think you're like the Bucks or you're Cleveland. It's like you might not actually be a top 5 seed.
Yeah.
Or you might actually be. Now it's like I'm guaranteeing being a 4 seed. I just think it would be a fun.
I just think
wrinkle.
they should run it more like the League Cup or the FA Cup in English football, where it's just like there are certain weekends that are cup weekends, and if you lose, you're out. And I think they obviously they have, like, if you draw, you have a replay for the FA Cup, but you wouldn't do that in basketball. But I think it would be cooler if there was just a little bit more danger involved.
If it was a 60 game schedule and we had the cup, I think it would work so much better.
Yes.
There's just too many games. It's hard to be in the whole reason the playoffs matter is people care about it. I still feel like at least it's a little different. It accomplished the objective of in December, in November. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's this game. It kind of means
Yeah,
this.
that Denver-Houston game on Friday was fun. The red court, like pretty high-level basketball.
And then Portland was next,
Yeah.
and they were in that. And I was
Yeah.
looking at that bracket. I'm like, whoa, that's quite a bracket. But
It's quite a
wasn't
bracket.
like I was texting you like, do you see Group C?
Yeah,
Group C's loaded.
yeah. That's the group of death.
Yeah. Speaking of death, Landman, our favorite show's back. We've seen 2 episodes of
Yeah.
season 2. And so John Hamm in January, when we saw him for the fantasy football thing, and we were like, are you coming back? Because it was unclear if his character died. And I was like, no, I'm done. And he said how Taylor Sheridan had set this whole thing up. So Demi Moore was in a few scenes in season 1 and just seemed like, why is she in this?
Yeah, why is she swimming laps in the background of this scene?
And he was saying, because Taylor Sheridan set this up, season 1 was my season, and then season 2 was the Demi season.
Right.
I think she's been awesome.
She's been a lot of fun.
Her first couple scenes in the first episode, I thought were home
She's
runs.
just doing John Hamm too. And it's like
Yeah.
in a very fun way, but where she's just like talking about the Serengeti and how she's going to underbid people's leases and all this stuff. And the only difference between me and my husband is I'm meaner. you
Yeah.
know?
It was just playing the hit. She looks great. I thought her Texas accent was surprisingly
Pretty
good.
good. Yeah.
I had that was like 5-1 odds. She was going to have a
Yeah.
good accent, but I thought she was excellent. I thought Billy Bob and Allie Larder have completely figured out their whole thing.
So how do you feel about, though, when it's like the Allie Larder 12-minute dinner scene?
I'm in.
You like it?
I
like it
do some
for-
people not like it?
Yeah. I mean, I like it for how crazy it is, but it is truly like unhinged television when they're just like, we're going to do an entire 12-minute scene about my menstrual cycle and white truffles.
But I think that's what they're trying to do. It's like when she comes in, fucking safety off.
Yes.
And we don't know where this is going.
I don't even feel like the actors know where it's going. Like they're all just sitting there at the dinner table, just like, what the fuck is happening?
So it makes me wonder, like, I don't know how involved Taylor Sheridan is in these shows after he sets them up and writes the first
He's
season.
writing this one.
Yeah.
Landman's like a huge show.
So he definitely has some thoughts about marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he just thought it'd be fun to take this angle or if these are really, because Billy Bob he did this in episode 2. He has these like, he's giving his son advice
His
about how to deal with
monologues, yeah.
women. And it's almost like cutting too close to home. It makes me wonder, is this what Taylor Sheridan and all of his thoughts are? Billy Bob's his proxy for relationships?
I'm sure he is his proxy. I don't know about what Taylor Sheridan's marriage is like. The thing I like the most about this show is that it doesn't really seem to play by that many rules. So
No.
it'll be like Cooper, this son on this show,
Who I really like.
and Jacob Laughlin's a really good actor, but he will be like, you're like, so this guy has basically been on an uninterrupted role since his friends died in the rig in the first season.
Yeah.
He's wound up with this girl. It wound up being able to be with her because they've like successfully warned off like her friends and family members who were against it. Then he digs these wells by like reasoning with these guys to get their leases.
Yeah.
All of the wells hit. And you're like, where's the conflict in this character? Is he just going to be like,
Oh, we're getting the conflict.
every Hail Mary he throws is a touchdown? And then we find out this week that like off screen, there's been some shenanigans. And this is probably just Taylor Sheridan being like, it's never too late to course correct something or to throw a curveball. And this kid needs like an obstacle. So we're going to bring in the cartel.
Andy Garcia, the entire
as
cartel.
his silent partner and is financing these leases. Yeah.
It just looks so easy to just go down to Texas and borrow some money from people and drill some land.
Yeah.
And just be like, now what people don't realize is the land that people thought the oil they already thought they tried it out, but what they don't realize is the oil's higher now.
But that was what was cool about this.
Makes
the
sense.
second episode was great because Tommy was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why didn't you come to me about this? Like,
Yeah.
you could have, what would have happened if this had all gone wrong? You know, and I think that will be like a really good plot line for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and Billy Bob's doing great. Then we have this whole Sam Elliott.
So far, 2 scenes, both at sunset, both in a wheelchair. We'll see if Sam Elliott...
Is Sam
How
Elliott
many
actually in
sets
a
did Sam
wheelchair in
Elliott-
real life, or what's going on?
Well, he did say that he had gotten injured shooting 1883 and that he has had like physical stuff since then, but that this was a part that he really wanted to play. So I'm hoping now with the funeral coming up for Billy Bob's mother, that we'll get some mobile Sam Elliott out
She
in the
sounded
world.
like a prize.
Yeah. Do you think Sam Elliott moves into the house with everybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've signed up for Sam Elliott this season. I need him in more scenes. Was at dinner in Malibu like a year and a half ago, and Sam Elliott was in the bar. It was at this place. There's a steak place there, and they have this place where there's like tables, but you can also see the bar. And Sam Elliott came in and sat at the bar, and it was like the most Sam Elliott
That's
thing.
great.
All the women were like, women love Sam Elliott. Handsome dude, like exactly what you would think. And he's just having like a scotch and soda. That guy has lived a life.
That's great.
Yeah. So maybe in Landman, they're taking it week by week, not knowing if he's going to be there.
So you're watching Landman, you watched Beast and Me. What else are you watching?
We're done with Landman?
No, we can keep talking about Landman. What other characters are there? We did Cooper, we did Tommy.
Well, they haven't figured out Billy Bob's son's living girlfriend.
No, but she actually was like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm signing up for this." I feel like he's going to make a big speech and turn
I
around.
wouldn't mind if we got rid of her and he started playing the field a little bit on Landman.
Okay.
I don't really want anybody attached on Landman, even Billy Bob and Allie Larder. Like, does anyone have to date anyone in Landman?
You just be like an all open relationship.
Yeah, I think it should be all like the ice storm. Just don't know what's going to happen. Set in Texas, but yeah, I don't like that plot that much. I'm glad he's a nice guy who wants to be a decent, fake stepfather.
I think he's trying to be the opposite of his dad. You know?
Yeah, it's cool. But play the field a little. You're like, do we know how old he is too?
Who, Cooper?
Yeah.
I think Cooper's supposed to be like in his late 20s. He's out of Texas Tech, maybe mid 20s. He's been doing geology at Lubbock, but now he's probably a couple years out of school.
And the daughter,
mid 20s,
who I thought was great in the first episode. I love the college.
The TCU stuff?
Yeah, so I think she has potential.
You're trying to encourage Ben to go to TCU?
After this show? No. Yeah, so Landman, I love Beast and Me.
Yeah.
I thought that was a home run.
I'm midway through that now.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. There's been some good documentary
That one kind
stuff.
of reminds me a little bit of like really good early like FX and Netflix thrillers.
I was
like
going to say like early 2010 Showtime.
Bloodline.
Yeah.
Damages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's Howard Gordon.
Yeah. Who did Homeland and 24 and stuff. Yeah.
Reuniting with Claire.
She's really good.
Would have been an interesting call.
Yeah.
Convincing her to do it. No, this character's different than
this
the other
character
ones.
laughs it up.
Yeah, this is a different one for you. That one's been really good. I feel like TV's had a really nice run this year.
Yeah, it's we're about to do our best of the year in a couple weeks, and it's one of the easier top 10s. The cream is really like obviously the cream for this season.
Somebody sent me a tweet, and it was it was a video of the 2014 Best Actor Emmy nominees. And the caption of the tweet was something like, "We really knew how to make TV in 2014.
Was it like Cranston, Ham?
It goes through, it's Cranston, It's Ham. It's Kevin Spacey in House of Cards. Who else was that year?
Would that have been a Thrones year?
Oh, both True Detective
both True
guys.
Detective guys. Yeah.
It's like when you're watching, it's like, oh my God. It's like this murderer's row. That was the height of Grantland.
Yeah.
Just for like TV coverage where we just couldn't believe we had all these shows.
Yeah, it's tough.
We're in
it's
a different era now.
It's like there are successful shows like Landman's got 9 million viewers, which is really good, or 10 million viewers or whatever. But it just feels it gets talked about differently and people watch it on their own time now. They've completely broken the idea of like watching something on the night it comes out, unless it's like Task finale or whatever.
Yeah, but even that, White Lotus was the last like Sunday night. This is the time it's on.
Yeah.
But even that, like my daughter didn't watch it when it was on. I think you have a whole generation of people now that the one difference is, so I noticed this with my daughter. Summer I Turned Pretty, which was dropping on like Wednesday nights at 2 a.m.
Yes, I was participating.
East Coast time.
Yeah.
And were you actually participating?
My wife is a huge Summer I Turned Pretty fan.
So it was like 11 o'clock on the West Coast.
Yes.
My daughter was in college.
Up all night waiting for it to come on.
There was one time where she stayed up for whatever the drop was. I thought that was interesting. And I think the Stranger Things Wednesday will be a big one.
That'll be big, but I think that this is almost indicative of what I'm talking about, where they're playing to the idea that everybody's going to be off work and will have time to watch 5 hours or 6 hours of Stranger Things over the course of like a night or two. Whereas like before we would just be like, no, do the 1 hour on a Sunday night so that we can talk about it all week. And
but this has been the Netflix conundrum for 10 years.
But it's like, even if they put Stranger Things out on a normal like kind of media schedule, where if it had dropped 2 weeks ago, you would have just had so much more coverage of it. I think people will cover Stranger Things a lot, but they're kind of circumventing like the talking about it part.
I don't know the answer, and it almost depends on the show, because I think there's some binge stuff that like Beast of Me was a perfect binge show.
Not a show I want to watch week to week.
Yeah, it wasn't quite. I thought it was a really good show, but I liked the ability to just plow through it. There were like 43-minute episodes.
Yeah.
It really was a 6-episode show,
that
but
they
it just
kind of extended out,
cut shorter. But I we always look at it from the Grantland Ringer vantage point of we just want content.
Sure.
So White Lotus was perfect.
Yeah, and then you get shows like
Task was perfect.
Perfect. And then every once in a while you get like Adolescence, where it's just like out of nowhere somehow everybody is talking about this show that's been on Netflix for a couple of days and everybody watches it.
But the Garfield assassination
Death
show,
by Lightning, really good.
That's a perfect binge though.
Yes.
I don't think that should have been, we're going to space this out every 4 weeks. When you go to
But they crucially didn't make that into like an 8-episode show.
Right.
They were like, this has like, we're going to tell like a very contained story here.
I thought the marketing of it was really interesting too. The marketing they snuck it out. The Game of Thrones guys were involved.
Yeah.
Dan and David, they didn't really play that up. They kind of put it out, but it did really well, it seemed like.
Yes.
But I didn't feel like there was a lot of buzz at all. Whereas like the Stranger Things.
Do you watch Pluribus at all? Have you checked it out?
I'm going to. That's on my list. I feel like this is a combo sports culture thing, but everybody's just better at spreading out the content and picking weekends so that it's kind of relentless now.
Oh, yeah.
There would be stuff, think like back 10, 12 years ago, where we just have weekends where there was no new movie, no TV show to watch, and no sports on.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
And now you're like, I feel like I'm already really behind on awards movies. And the TV stuff I'm on top of, but it still is like, it's piling up for sure. Pretty much after Stranger Things, Fallout's coming out, and then the rest of the year is pretty quiet.
For TV.
Until January when Industry comes back.
Yeah, because in sports, and this was a big Nick Khan thing for UFC and WWE, like just that whole company that runs that stuff, they really studied the schedules of, we shouldn't be putting WrestleMania out on this weekend. Why don't we do this weekend? It's a little more dead. Why don't we have this boxing thing in the third weekend in August? Because that's a dead weekend.
Right.
So now it just feels like we just go from week to week and there's always like a new thing. And I think the big thing for me, and we haven't talked about it on this podcast, but I know you've talked about it on The Watch a bunch, but Paramount, what happens with them if they can get Warner Brothers, or if Comcast can get Warner, whoever gets it, are one of those people going to be a disruptor? Because right now I don't feel like we have disruptors in the same ways. Where Netflix has figured out their lane. Amazon is basically doing like they're into sports. They
do a lot of dad shows
for specifically my dad, like Bosch and those things.
I think that the one thing I would note about the Paramount stuff is that Cindy Holland is now essentially running their TV business.
Yeah.
And she was the person who kind of was the architect of Netflix's early TV strategy and has really, really well-guarded taste. So she was the one who brought in House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, all those shows. So I think that some of those first decisions that she's been making have been really interesting with Paramount. I don't know what happens if they acquire Warner Brothers. I mean, I think HBO is really the crown jewel of.
Well, we'll do the players, right? Netflix, we know what they are.
Yep.
Every week they have something. Apple has these shows. They always have big stars. They're either a movie or a TV show.
But it's a closed circuit. Their shows don't go out. They don't get licensed anywhere. It's a global service, but at the same time, it's one that I think lots of people don't even know that they have if they've got it, or don't even know how to.
And they have stuff that comes and goes, and you didn't even know it happened.
Yes,
like real movies with famous people.
No, there's a show on right now
happen?
called Down Cemetery Road with Emma Thompson and Ruth Wilson, which is pretty good. But it's like I don't think I've seen a single outside of Apple piece of advertising for it.
And then the studio, which I think we all were fairly high to pretty high on on the Ringer. I also think that was a New York LA show. I don't think anyone.
I think that they're fine with the New York LA show.
And it hit the awards. It did everything they'd want, but it wasn't a big audience show. Severance they claim is a big audience show, but I don't know how big of an audience it is.
I think Severance and Pluribus have both kind of like moved into a larger theories, fan theories, and also like a larger beyond Apple thing. Yeah.
Pluribus is a good one by our standards where we can get the content out of it every week, I think. But yeah, so you have them. You have Paramount, which has basically moved into this Taylor Sheridan kind of world.
They just lost Taylor.
I know, but they don't lose him for 3 years.
Yeah, but like I do wonder whether that's a little bit like, yeah, that's right, Mark Cuban, you can still be the governor. You know, like
right.
At what point does Taylor Sheridan start offloading some of those shows to like proteges or people who are like now writing Mayor of Kingstown or Y Marshals or whatever, and he starts to go to work at least somewhat on his Peacock stuff. The fact that Comcast got Taylor Sheridan makes me think that Comcast thinks they're major players for another 10 years. Buying the NBA rights, having the Olympics, getting Taylor Sheridan, that makes me think that they are really like they're going to go after, I think they're really going after those Warner assets.
Right. And maybe getting at least half of them. Yeah. So it feels like we're about to hit disruption again because right now everybody seems too comfy. And Hulu, we didn't mention them, but Hulu, it's Hulu plus FX, and they have stuff like it's the Murdoch murders. By the way, I watched that. I enjoyed.
Yes. But don't you think at a certain point that just becomes tiles on Disney Plus? Like, won't they want to choose?
So Hulu's probably a loser. And then Peacock, I guess, it needs to be supercharged by whatever happens with NBC Universal and folded in. But I do think this. I think this, whatever happens going forward with all of these assets from the Warner Brothers, is going to supercharge somebody. I just don't know who.
Yeah, and it's a question of whether or not, like, for instance, so Sean and Amanda were talking about this today. If Netflix were to buy Warner Brothers, do they still commit to the way, like, to releasing movies? Or if they were to buy Warner Brothers, do they also buy HBO? Or are they buying the HBO brain trust, and HBO becomes like a basically a tile on Netflix? Like, I don't know how that stuff works.
I don't see it. Netflix has never bought anything.
So you think they're just doing their due diligence?
I think what they would want is the library.
Yeah. And the IP.
My understanding. Yeah, you get the Warner Brothers, you just get all of these movies that are now just on Netflix and you just have them. I think HBO, however this plays out, HBO ends up on its own somewhere, carved out. I think the biggest thing that's happened the last 5 years is HBO kind of got its mojo back as an entity.
Sure.
Because it really felt like Zaslav was trying to ruin it. It's like, no, it's only a part of this bigger thing we have and Max. And
I also think TV is getting back to being TV again post-COVID, post-strikes, which is really worth keeping in mind when we say the sky is falling, is that a lot of people's like sort of changing relationships to television was in fact a ripple effect of COVID and the strikes. That's where like the 3 years in between seasons starts coming in. That's when,
Yeah.
and now it's like the Pit's coming back on in like January or February. You know,
It's
like
a big success.
like
yeah.
these shows, like these Taylor Sheridan shows, usually come back once a year. So like we're starting to get back into TV as something that is like repeatable on an annual basis, not something that's like an event every 3 or 4 years.
Everyone I know who tries to sell shows or make shows says the combo of COVID and the strikes changed the equation for the urgency these places had to actually greenlight shows.
Right.
And that we're just making less stuff across the board, and people are just more careful versus maybe Apple's not being as careful, but people are careful for the most part of what they're greenlighting, how long those things are going to be, how many seasons, and it's still kind of shaking out. So the Paramount thing, I think, is the most interesting wrinkle as we head into the second half of the 2020s. How much are they just going to completely blow up the market for everything? Are they going to be trying to steal stuff?
Also, are they the only people who can get a merger to go through because of the White House? So it's like, I don't know how that stuff works politically and what happens if like tides change politically.
Still feel like Tell Me Lies, the Summer I Turned Pretty, Stranger Things,
Euphoria.
There's still some massive shows being marketed to people under 30 that are working in real ways.
Yeah.
And then there's shows for the over 30 people that I think have that stuff's been hitting too. I don't know. I'm pretty bullish right now.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see whether people like your kids graduate into becoming TV watchers the way we were and like adopt their shows, or whether they're just like, this is just like part of the content buffet.
Or there's better stuff now. Like I was thinking about when we were kids, they would show reruns of sitcoms and we would watch them again.
Syndication stuff, yeah.
No, like on NBC.
Oh, right. It's not a new episode.
It's not a new episode
of Night Court this week.
Here's Cheers again.
Yeah.
It's like, you already saw it. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
I'll watch it again.
But that would be your only opportunity to ever watch it again. Yeah.
But now it's, I don't know. Everything is kind of narrowed down. I still don't, the thing I really want to see how it plays out just for TV and movies is comedy. I think we figured out everything but comedy. Like horror movies are the most backed they've ever been.
Yes.
The IMAX and blowing out these big movies on movie screens. You can even see it in the marketing now. We're like, coming on IMAX March 23rd. And so we figured that out. We figured out the prestige TV, YA, all these different things. And comedies we've not figured out. They don't release in theaters anymore at all, right? Nobody goes to see comedies in theater.
Do you think there's a correlation
period.
between the popularity of stand-up at any given time and the popularity of comedy television and movies? In terms of like, are people just going to see stand-up and watching comedy pods rather than watching comedy sitcoms and comedy movies?
That's interesting. I just think we don't have the stars. Like I was watching.
We have really big comedians though.
Yeah, but like here's the difference. Like I was flying home on JetBlue. The Wi-Fi went. So now I'm stuck with DirecTV, and they have like their 20 channels. Beverly Hills Cop is on WeTV, which I've seen 700 times. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll watch Beverly Hills Cop again. This is my best option. I can't watch the ESPN Talking Head programming. There's nothing else. And it's just a great movie, and Eddie's just such a megastar in it. And I just feel like if we had people like that, comedies would be back. Like,
sure,
we just need massive people who can carry movies that are really funny, which sounds like it's like we need a franchise basketball player. Great. I just don't know who those people are. And you're right. They've kind of drifted towards
I just
doing
think it's pretty lucrative
shows.
To doing their stand-up and doing their pods.
Like Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
Like 30 years ago, Nate Bargatze's coming up with his version of Everybody Loves Raymond and not doing stand-up.
Exactly.
1993 Ray Romano is trying to be Nate Bargatze in 2025. He's not doing Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right.
So TV sitcoms, those have gone out the window.
And then that was also like a platform to go into movies.
But I wonder with comedies, what is the generation coming that was shaped by the Apatow movies and Superbad and all that? Because if you think
like Craig Horlbeck's age.
Yeah, because when we did the Weird Science pod, me and Kyle, we were talking about how much that movie influenced Superbad, right? Weird Science comes out 85. Superbad's 2007, 2008 range. And the generation that wrote in Superbad and acted in it was affected specifically by those 80 movies, like Weird Science. that new generation should be coming now for all the people that were affected by Jonah Hill, Bill Hader, Steve Carell, Will Ferrell, Anchorman. Like that should be transferring, but maybe that just goes to TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's also like that would be around like the people grew up watching Eastbound and Down and the Danny McBride stuff.
Right. That was an unbelievable comedy era.
Yeah. And now I think probably the biggest comedy that's on right now is probably Chair Company. Like in terms of like the Tim Robinson show. And that's,
is that even a comedy?
Barely. It's got more in common with like David
The Bear.
Lynch.
Yeah. Or some of those shows.
Right. I mean, I think it's funny, but it's a super weird show. Like it's
like I Love LA is interesting. It's not like you're not laughing.
Yeah, I think there's some like funny observations in it, but I don't know that it's like a comedy. Yeah, or like a punchline driven comedy.
Yeah, this is like that Louis show started this where these shows that were ostensibly comedies, but they're not.
Yeah.
And this is just where we've been 10 years. I still think there's an option for somebody to just be really fucking funny, but you need the stars, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that I think it's become so lucrative to be your own boss and have your own comedy career that you don't want to go and be like, I'm a fish out of water cop, you know?
Right.
And it's like, Theo Von's not going to go do that movie. Like he's doing fine.
What comedies would work? I still feel like buddy cop movies still work. But
I'm kind of surprised nobody's done a college comedy in a minute. I'm trying to think of like,
or would that just be on Netflix now?
I guess, but it's also just like, I think that those become TV shows probably, you're right. But we haven't had like a Project X kind of like party comedy in a while, right?
Right.
Which has traditionally been like a nice place to start from where it's that's like Animal House and like...
Right, but do people go see comedies in a movie theater anymore? Or do they just wait until they're on... Like I really wanted to see the Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson movie and I was like, I'll just wait till it's on Amazon.
Well, they've crippled that because like now that's become like the ultimate, like it's not exactly going to see one battle after another. I can watch this on my TV.
Whereas you have to see one battle after another.
Yeah, you should.
In the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen it? How many times have you seen it?
Twice. Once on IMAX and once at home.
Yeah, I'm going to test drive it at home. It's so much and it's almost 3 hours that you leave and you're just like your head's
But it's also
spinning.
like, I would say the second time through because you kind of know the rhythms of it and you know where it's going and you know how much longer the Perfidia section is and how much longer it really is an awesome second watch and rewatchable movie.
Yeah, like some of the stuff I didn't pick up on the first time. I've only seen it once, but just how distinct and deliberate the starts in 2008, ends in 04 or 24. And just, there's so many things I just want to watch.
Yeah, and there's
really
lots
rethink.
of nuances to like the Leo performance and the Benicio performance that are like, on the second watch, I noticed like, even just like Leo's vape acting is just elite on the second watch.
Yeah, you think he's really vaping the whole time? He must be, right?
I think he's an enthusiastic vapor, yeah.
All right. Did we cover everything?
I think so.
Thanks for popping on my evergreen BS Thanksgiving week podcast. Great to see you. I'm glad.
To see you, man.
Well, we didn't talk about the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
you
a
want
good
to do
thing,
some
right?
Tulo stuff? Let's go.
Just quickly. Were you 8-3 and miserable?
Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like did you ever have a Patriots season like that? Did you ever an 8-3 and miserable?
We had I want to say it was 09, 2010. It was after Brady's ACL when they were winning and they were scoring, but you just knew they didn't have it.
The only thing that's weird is that I don't know who has it this season.
Yeah.
Like it would be one thing if it was 8-3 and it's fake and they're about to like lose the Bears on Friday and it's just like goes downhill. But they could very well turn this around and go to the Super Bowl again. You know, like they get Lane Johnson back. Like there's all sorts of stuff. Like there's ways in which this could go better, but
yeah, if you're doing the life depends on it test and you're like, what team's coming out of the NFC? And granted, I'll give you the Rams, but I don't know how the Eagles aren't the second pick in that conversation, especially with Tampa falling apart. Who else are you taking?
Right. Seahawks? Like, I don't know.
It reminds me of like the mid 2000s NFL. Like the year we had that Colts Bears Super Bowl, we had that Steelers Seahawks Super Bowl where you're just looking at all these teams going,
happen? Yeah.
Yeah, like, really?
Yeah.
You're going to make a Super Bowl with Hasselbeck? Rex Grossman's going to be in there? Like it might be that crazy. Like it might be like a really flawed Patriots team or, the Bears just get the 2 seed and somehow win round 2 on a punt return. And you're like, really?
Yeah,
The
but
Bears?
I was watching the Lions yesterday, and
Another flawed team.
and a flawed team, but like so exciting and feel so like much more fluid and like electrifying than the Eagles. And Gibbs looks like what Saquon used to look like. But they're in nail biters every week. It seems like So it's just like I don't really know who's good.
Who's your favorite Eagle?
Oh, Devontae Smith.
Oh,
by far.
Is he like the alternative band? He's like the Matthew Sweet of the Eagles.
He's like the teenage fan club of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All the cool kids.
Yeah.
The little Devontae Smith.
I love Smitty. Yeah.
Smitty, we're calling him now? When did that start?
I think it's been like his Philly nickname for a minute. Yeah.
How many Eagles text threads do you have?
One major one with Andy and Zach. That's quite
it? Just
active.
3 of you?
Yeah.
Nobody else is invited?
That's not even invited. I don't think anybody else would want to like withstand that. Just the amount of like us scouting other people's offensive coordinators.
I'm on a Boston sports thread that Hench on, but I'm also on a Pats thread with him and one other person. And somehow we don't repeat our takes on the 2 threads. Each thread has a different energy.
A different vibe.
The Boston sports thread's a little like happier, and then the Patriots thread is like hardcore. I'm really worried about Gonzalez. This is the 3rd time he's been beaten by some fringe receiver. We're like getting into that.
Oh God.
Yeah. Those are some fun threads.
Yeah, I was just telling you, I was like, if you go back 2 years, we're openly calling for Bobby Slowick to replace Sirianni.
Oh, and you're on your text thread.
Yeah, and it's like the certainty with which we were like, it's just a matter of time before Slowick moves into Sirianni's office, and then he goes and wins a Super Bowl.
That would be a fun. I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, it would just be like take storage in your text. Yeah,
I was wondering, could you pay Apple to just get rid of your terrible sports takes? I'm positive we could beat the Lakers from like 2020. All right, CR, great to see you as always. All right, Tuesday afternoon, going to finish the podcast with my daughter, Zoe Simmons, who I made come home from college. You resisted.
You're
only
didn't resist.
home for a couple days. You were like,
it's
I'm
a
coming home for
cross-country
you.
flight. I did come home for you.
You should come home for Thanksgiving. You spent every Thanksgiving with us.
Yeah, but I came home for you because I know how badly you wanted me to.
Wasn't Mom just me?
It was for Mom too. But Mom is less hurt by these sorts of things. You take this stuff to heart.
That's my dad's side, though. That's that whole guilt trip side.
You're
of
a
the
grudge
family.
holder. You're a guilt tripper. I knew if I didn't come home, this would be hung over my head for the next 10 years of my life.
But I don't know how many more of these I have left.
Come on. I mean, really, let's not even
Junior
go
in
there.
college. You'll be 21 in May.
Yeah, it's true.
For the people listening.
For the people
You've
listening.
been coming on this podcast since like 2017. Although I was thinking about it, ESPN, I had you and Ben saying Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when you were like little kids. So,
I forgot about that.
It's been quite a journey for us.
It has.
Stranger Things launching this week. The defining show of your generation. I think it's fair to say. I don't even know what the competition would be.
Yeah,
It's interesting because your generation is like way scattered, social media, all these influencers. Everybody has all these different things they like, and you don't have like the common stuff like my generation had, where we all watch the same shows, movies, but yet everybody watches Stranger Things. This is the one show like that?
There's a few out there. Some of them are like older TV shows that people of my generation have found. Like Gilmore Girls is one of those shows where I think if you're a female within age like 13 to 30, you were just expected to have seen all of Gilmore Girls. There are a few shows like that, but I think this show, as you were saying, it's so scattered all over the place because with social media and everyone just being aware of what everyone is up to, it's easy to just do your own thing and have your own route and like be aware of other stuff happening, but not necessarily like immerse yourself within it because you just know that it's happening. But this show kind of like stopped time, and it felt like everyone had to watch it. And it came out in, what was it, 2012, the first season? It was
later than that. It was like
2016.
I'm going to say.
It was a defining year,
2018,
regardless of when it came out. And every single person that I knew watched it. And we were all, at least for me, the ages of the characters when the first season came out. So it felt like a total, just took everything over.
Now Millie Bobby Brown's a mom.
She's a mom. She's a wife. She's old. They're all old. It's going to be... That's a whole other topic, but interesting how they kind of transferred how these people have grown up and how many years have been between the last season releasing and then this season. Because the last season came out my junior year of high school, and now I'm a junior in college.
Why did it take so long? Because of COVID and
COVID setbacks. The CGI for this show is also just out of control.
yeah.
And the writer's strike. Like, there were just a lot of things that happened that set it back. And I'm honestly okay with it because I would rather them do it to the best of their ability as perfectly as they can than just try and pump it out for no reason. I think it taking so long to come out has made people like really excited for it and has given you time to rewatch all of them.
Yeah, people keep rewatching them.
Yeah. Because it's a nostalgic, like, for me, it's my first real nostalgic thing. It's like I watched this show for the first time when I was like 12 years old, and now I'm 20, and I'm rewatching all of these episodes and these seasons and remembering things. And it's the nostalgia of it that really gets people, I think.
It was even a show you and your brother agreed on.
Oh, yeah.
Watched.
Everyone I know, though, everyone has an experience where they're like, I remember when I first watched Stranger Things. I remember this happening in my life, this thing happening. Like, it was just a cultural thing, Stranger Things.
So is there a fear that this isn't going to match up to whatever the hype is?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I usually worry about that in terms of shows that have so much hype around them. I think this season's going to be phenomenal. I have no fears about it whatsoever.
So I somehow never watched it.
I know.
I only saw bits and pieces from when like you and Ben were watching it.
But you're aware of like the cultural like
I'm aware of
stigma that surrounds it.
I'm aware of all the stuff that the show bred. I don't actually know what happens. I know it's set in the past.
In the
I know
80s.
it's an homage to all the movies that I loved when I was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And 7 has superpowers or
It's
something.
11. Nice try.
11. So
7's
11.
a different character. 7 got
7?
killed off in season 1. You
So,
don't
but
really know
11
the
is still
other
kicking
numbers.
around.
11's the GOAT.
All right. So where did we leave off with 11?
11's Jason Tatum of Stranger Things world. Well, season 4 was this show is so confusing to explain to someone that hasn't watched it. So I don't even feel like I can attempt at doing that for you.
Okay.
But
Do it in 20 seconds.
okay.
Can you do it in 20 seconds?
I'm
This
gonna
is a big
try.
test.
11 is a part of this company that is basically trying to breed people to have superpowers so that they can use them to fight other countries in war and combat and things like that.
Okay.
So she's a production of this evil hospital. She escapes into the woods and ends up like finding her friends that are the Stranger Things cast. So she's like escapes from the hospital, and within all 4 seasons, they're trying to get her back.
Okay.
So that's like a different
20
subplot,
seconds.
but that's not the whole show. There's so many different subplots, but in season 4, it kind of comes to fruition that the number one person who started this entire, like, Elle was the one who broke the world and basically made it possible for us to enter a whole new dimension, which is the Upside Down.
Yeah. Upside down.
And she sent one of her other people from like the hospital, number 1, into the Upside Down, and he became a demon that was the king of the Upside Down and has now come back for revenge.
Oh.
So that's the whole different subplot, which is the main part of the show. But then in season 1, Will, one of the characters, one of the little boys, gets abducted. So that's kind of how it all starts out. And then 11 comes along, and Will is always kind of like a part of this Upside Down world because he was abducted and then possessed by the like Upside Down demons. That's like the dumbest way I can try and explain a really complicated show.
I think
to
I
you.
followed it.
You got the gist?
But
Yeah.
this is it. So it's going to
This is
end
it.
with like 11 saves the world and then the show will end.
Right. There's a lot of predictions and like speculation as to what's going to happen this season because we've had some pretty pivotal characters die, beloved characters, you could say, but not any characters that were like there from the beginning.
Yeah.
There's always like a new character that's introduced at the beginning of a season. Like season 3, it was Bob, who's Will's stepdad and Joyce's new like boyfriend, who becomes like a really lovable father figure character, and then he gets murdered at the end. It's just devastating. And then this last season, Eddie Munson, who's kind of like the leader of this group that they're in, the Hellfire Club, which the whole show is based off of Dungeons and Dragons. Like that was the premise.
Yeah. I never liked it in the 80s.
I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons girl myself, but Eddie was kind of like the ringleader freak of the high school, and
Yeah.
he ends up being a good guy and then sacrificing himself for the kids. But he was the big loss of the last season. So this season, people, because it's the last season, have been speculating who's going to die. It's a lot of
And they keep it under wraps. Like they don't
Oh,
leak
yeah.
it. Nobody
No
has...
one knows anything.
Okay.
It's like a Taylor Swift situation where it's like there's no teasers,
Swift.
it can't be known. Like
Yeah.
everything is kept super under the wraps. But there's a lot of theories floating around. 11's gonna die potentially because she's gonna have to die in order to save the rest of them. But there's a few pretty significant people in there that I will be absolutely devastated if they die.
So what is the number one reason why this show resonated like it did? Because it's well done? Because people love the characters? Because of the mystery of it? Like, what is it?
I think that people, at least for myself, like I have always loved the 80s.
Yeah.
It's the entire vibe of the show itself. It makes you feel nostalgic for something that you never even experienced. And I know that you lived through that period. Mom lived through that period. Like all of these people that I know and love and looked up to lived through this period. And I think that this show does the best job at like depicting what it was like. And it almost makes you wish that you could have been living back in this time. Because it really was. I think the outfits, the fashion, the vibe, that's a whole facet of why this show is so popular and why I like to watch it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I'm not a science fiction person, but the way that they've done this show and every single season has so many different layers, and it's just like it's so obvious that they had thought so far in advance from the very beginning, and all of these pieces coming together. That's what people really like. It's more than just well done, but it's like so well written. It feels like TV doesn't get written this well in this day and age. Like it's
one of your big passions is how the TV shows always seem to miss stuff that would resonate with your generation. They always get like 3 things wrong.
Right. And I also like to feel like I'm much dumber than the people that are writing the show. If I can like guess exactly what's going to happen way before it happens, it doesn't feel like rewarding. With
or maybe
this show,
you're really smart. Maybe you should be writing shows.
But this show, like you never know what's going to happen. It just feels like this force that's so much bigger than you. As cringe as that sounds, it's like it does withhold like such a power that really no other media or TV or movie has ever done for me, unless it was some old stuff that was produced like 20 years ago.
So why did Summer I Turned Pretty hit like it did? What was the difference?
I think that had immediate nostalgia because for me, I read those books when I was in middle school, and I think a lot of girls my age also did. Those were kind of like the rite of passage books that you read throughout middle school. So just to see something like that on a big screen was important. I also think using like all current music, like Gracie Abrams, Taylor Swift, all these songs that we kind of grew up on, that was super helpful for watching the show. But I think it was just an easy watch that it came out as summer was ending. So getting to watch it through like the fall period, especially for me, like playing soccer and needing like kind of longing for the summer and like relaxing times. They just did a good job at making it an easy watch. And they also made the characters super lovable or hateable. Like people are still very much in love with Conrad on TikTok, like consistently
Did
talking
Conrad
about.
Win or lose? I can't. It was a love
He
triangle,
won.
right?
Well,
I'm so happy for him.
Amazon made it so that there's a movie that has to come out in a few months to finish the whole story. They left us off on kind of like a cliffhanger.
Oh,
We're assuming we know what happens, but we don't exactly know. But anyway, like the parasocial relationship that people have created with Conrad is like a whole reason as to why like it was so successful. And then everyone
what did they like about Conrad?
hates Jeremiah so much. Because he's a yearner. That's just what people say on TikTok. Like, you're a yearner. Like, Jeff Buckley's music is like yearning music. And like women long for like men that just yearn for other women. Because in this day and age, it's like boys are kind of not like very charming or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like boys aren't trying to court girls anymore. And I think Conrad like trying to court Belly like really hit with
missed
people.
The yearning and the courting.
Well, that's just what like TikTok is kind of going off of. They like a man who's like willing to like put all of everything aside and just be like, I love this girl and I'm going to do everything for her. And that's what resonated, I think, at least with my friends that still love Conrad.
I think it's great that Jeff Buckley still matters.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because we have a new documentary for the Music Box series about Jeff Buckley
it
next month. But
he's had a huge resurgence.
Well, it's funny how the TV shows can revive some of these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Summer I Turned Pretty got to the point where you were, what time was it coming on Boston time?
Midnight.
So
on
you were
like
staying
a
up till
school
midnight.
night. Oh, yeah. And I also like when TV shows space things out weekly. So you have to wait for it and you get to have the anticipation. I think that was a whole other thing, similar to Stranger Things, where it's like everyone is watching this show and everyone's waiting. And in the week before, everyone's throwing in their predictions or like just bonding over it on like
that was the White Lotus.
A global matter. Exactly. Like White Lotus too.
Yeah, but why don't the streamers, everybody feels this way, and yet like Netflix is dropping all the Stranger Things episodes at once, right?
No, they're dropping the first batch on Thanksgiving. I think the first 4 episodes. And then you have to wait until Christmas and then New Year's.
But wouldn't it have been better off doing 2 and then just 1 a week to basically like suck you guys in for the rest of 2025?
They're more important than these other shows, which I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that I think they are too.
Yeah, obviously it worked.
And they're important enough to be able to like, here's 4 episodes and then you have to wait a month for the next 4. And I'm willing to do that. I think that they want to be like bigger than just dropping.
Pretty didn't do that, right?
Because
they did
that
like
show's
2 and then 1.
Not nearly as good as Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That's the type of show that has to be released weekly because you're going to lose interest if it's not. Yeah. Like there were so many filler episodes in there where it's like, I don't know what just happened for the last hour, but it feels like
joined like a fantasy basketball league.
It feels like nothing that we needed to happen happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, hopefully the next week will be better, but at least it's only 7 days until we get to find out.
Well, I mean, that dates back to the 80s and 90s and the 90210 type shows that were like that. They always should have been like 10 episodes a year, and they would like 90210 was 32 episodes for a couple years.
Yeah, that's
so they would
lot.
have like all-time filler episodes.
Well,
Summer I Turned Pretty, it seems like, what is it, like 13?
It's not enough episodes to have as many filler episodes as it did. Like I would leave a week of show and being like, that was just pointless, a wasted hour of my life. But I'm going to come back again next week because I need to know what happens.
But Tell Me Lies that one hit.
Whole different spectrum. Like I put these shows in different like boxes in my brain where it's like Summer I Turned Pretty is just nostalgic, easy to watch, a good watch. Every episode might not necessarily be good, but it's easy for background noise. And it's a nice thing to be able to like relate with others on the internet about and just be like, I'm going to open my For You page and everything is going to be about this one scene from the show last night and we all get to laugh about it together. I just like having the sense of community that show brought.
Tell Me Lies was like the dangerous show that people 16 under shouldn't be watching, but they have to watch.
Yeah, it's a total mind screw up. Like watching that show, I have to like prepare myself to go into every episode because it feels like you are like watching something really dark and like being manipulated.
Are there any good people on that show?
What do you mean when you say good people? Like good person?
Yeah.
There's not a single good person.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally not a single one. But it's a great show. It's exactly like Euphoria in the way that these characters are so complicated and so fucked up that you would just never even imagine that a person could be capable of doing the things that they do. It's a little less drug heavy and kind of like disco
than Euphoria. I hope so.
Glitter outfit situation. But it still has the same effect where it's like a more real life simulation of like, this is some really fucked up, manipulated, like really terrible people.
Euphoria is coming back and they're, I think, fast forwarding.
Yeah.
The ages of
lot
the
of
people.
Years. I'm nervous
for that. The one thing
I
heard was that I heard Sydney Sweeney's character is going to be an OnlyFans model on the show. No, for real.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's the only Euphoria scoop I have for you.
I'm nervous for that show to come back. I really did love it in the first few seasons we watched it, but it seems like there's so much baggage that has happened and so much time in between that I just can't imagine it being a good season.
But you loved I Love LA.
I loved I Love LA.
And you were literally the audience for it because you're a 20-year-old in LA, which I don't know. They renewed it, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
I Love LA I thought it was just perfect in the way that it made fun of how awful LA people can be. I love LA, not the show. Like, I love LA. LA is great.
But you're also smart enough to know who not to like in LA.
It did the most perfect job at showing how ridiculous like the whole influencer world can be because it is just insane.
Yeah.
I loved every single bit and piece of the influencer stuff. The relationship that lead character has with her boyfriend just could not be more perfect. Everything about the show just felt like it's all of these like niche things I've picked up on in like my 20 years living here, put into a singular thing and then blown up by 100%. And I think it resonated with a lot of people from LA.
So you think it became a little bit of a thing?
Oh yeah. I saw a lot of stuff of it on the internet and it's a binge-worthy show too, which is helpful. It's an easy watch. People just like easy watches. it's nice to know that like if you're going into a show like Tell Me Lies, it's like I need to prepare myself, and this might like give me an emotional, like some emotional turmoil for the rest of the week. Watching I Love LA, it's like I can just easily watch this show and go about the rest of my day and not really have a dark cloud hanging over my head.
We should have created a podcast where you recap these shows with my dad as he tried to figure out what was going on. And like, I Love LA.
He's
Euphoria.
unbelievable. I think you would have had an aneurysm if you tried to watch that show.
Yeah, he's just conditioned for CBS now.
We tried to watch a docu with him over summer,
Which one?
the Call Her Daddy one.
Oh, that's right.
And I
got
think
up
he
and
had
left.
4 seizures in his seat. He had to get a lemonade with extra ice just to keep him awake, and then he left with
Yeah,
like
he just left. He
he
went in the
just
other room.
disappeared.
He's like, I don't like that lady. And he just left.
he was only here for 4 days, and he didn't even want to stay with us to watch it.
Yeah, I don't really blame him.
No.
Wasn't great.
Wasn't
Any
the
other
best.
shows before we go? That's it? That's the
yeah,
All-Star team? Who's your
no.
favorite influencer right now?
I love my Graydon Cutler, Hallie Batchelder combo. I've talked about them before on
Yeah.
here. Also, like a local Boston resident, I'm always looking out for him whenever I'm on
Oh.
the streets. He's 6'7", so he shouldn't be that hard to find. But there's some good people out there that I'm really liking right now. My most favorite person is this lady named Natasha, and she is from California. She lives in Long Beach, I think, and she takes like 4 weed gummies and then tries different restaurants from like different ethnicities and different sorts of like areas of the world.
Why do the weed gummies? What does that have to do? It makes
It
her
makes her
hungrier?
hungry.
Okay.
But she films it through like these glasses that she wears, and it's like you're eating. It's like you're eating. You're watching her eat, but it's from a first person perspective.
Well, and you still love Therapist, but it's on vacation,
yeah.
right? Or
No, Therapist just finished season 2.
Okay.
I couldn't love that guy more. And his 2 friends, Julia Mervis and Peyton Perther and Brett Chody, like all the people that surround him, I just would trust with my life. There's no one more that I'd want to be friends with. If anyone was like, you can be friends with these 5 famous social media people, he's my number one.
Because all these influencers come and go, or they get canceled, or they turn on each other, or they never seem to last longer than like 9 months.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to explain to Mom the other day, like how he came to be and how he gained success. And it was literally from him like getting high and then making these little skit videos that people would send in. I think his most famous one was like Abraham Lincoln finding his signature hat. But it's just like these little stupid funny videos, almost simulated Vine. And people just caught on to him, and his personality is so great. And he just created this entire like kingdom around just his personality and how he is.
Well,
And
it
he's
ties
lovable
into-
across the board. Everyone who's been on the pod like loves him. He's
Well,
buddies
he's
with
getting,
every
like, giant
famous
guests
person.
now.
Yeah, because he's so likable.
I want to go on. I haven't been invited.
I'm sure he'd like to have you.
I would love to go on
Not gonna
Therapist
speak
just to
for him.
impress you.
Would you be able to give some recommendations to the pussies about like things? That's what he
his-
calls them. The pussies. You know, like that. Yeah, the therapist.
Well, you said he's tapping into some trend that's happening right now where so many people are in therapy that he's crossed therapy with a podcast and everything. And he's somehow solved these 3 different things at the same time into one pod.
The mailbag segment, the
Yeah.
life advice, the unsolicited therapy thing. Like, and he's a trustworthy person. And I think it's hard for these influencers to be successful because they're so easy to see through.
Yeah.
And it's like you're liked for this specific thing. Like maybe you're the crazy party girl and that's your appeal and you can get a certain audience or whatever your niche is. But he's just genuinely like such a likable person and people trust him and just like want to listen to him. And that's why everyone keeps coming back.
Yeah, you're almost too normal to have a pod. You would have to have a pod where you were the normal person with
I know,
2
and
crazy,
have some crazy
two
guest
crazy
star.
girls your age
Yeah.
who just like tell stories every week about what they did, and you're kind of the calm one.
Yeah.
Well,
Jake
we're
is
open
great.
for business if we can
Ready
find
to
those
go.
2 people.
But Stranger Things, we didn't finish who I think is going to die. I'm just going
Oh,
to
let's
throw
hear
it out there.
because we got to go. So tell us who's going to die. Give us 2 predictions.
I hope to God Steve Harrington doesn't, but I'm assuming he will. Another big prediction that I saw on the internet was that Vecna is going to transfer his powers over to Will, who's one of Eleven's best friends, which is going to make it a more difficult time for
I was
him to
wondering
kill
if
her.
that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
a potential. Regardless, let's all stream it together. I'm super excited about Stranger Things. Just excited for everything that's coming out. And
So
Tell Me
Thursday,
Lies in January.
Thursday, I'm going to be watching football after we eat. And you'll be like up in your room watching
Upstairs,
Stranger Things on your phone.
Done for the night.
And then you fly back. Okay. It'd be great to see you. Zoe Simmons. Great season, by the way. You stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I tried.
It was
Did
great.
good this year.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was successful. Oh, it was all right.
No, it was good.
Yeah. It was a successful
I'm
year.
always happy when you're playing and you stay healthy.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 goals.
Got to it.
But it was fun watching. All
Thanks,
right.
Dad.
Good to see you, Zoe. Happy
Good to
Thanksgiving.
see you. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right, that's it for the podcast. Thanks to Goldsberry, and thanks to Chris Ryan, and thanks to House, thanks to my daughter, thanks to Gahao and Eduardo as well. Have a great Thanksgiving. For Ringer 107, we're going to be posting all of our picks on Wednesday night if you want to get some really mediocre. Is anybody going to get hot in the Ringer 107? I have no idea. We have 5 teams all treading water around 500. Will one of them get hot? We're about to find out. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks for supporting the podcast. I will see you on a Sunday night. Must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.